irashaimase, and welcome to days 4, 5 and 6 of the Natsu Basho, the Summer Grand Sumo Tournament from Tokyo, Japan. My name is Sid Hoare. 6 times a year, the 800 or so Rikishi, the wrestlers, compete over a 15-day period. They're divided strictly by ability into 6 divisions. The top 2 divisions fight once each day, that's 15 bouts overall. And the bottom 4 divisions fight only 7 times. If they get more wins than losses, they move up the rankings. The top 3 divisions are the important ones, and the very top division, the Makuuchi, the cream of the cream, contains just 40 wrestlers. They are further subdivided into Yokozuna, the Grand Champions, Ozeki, the Ordinary Champions, and then Sekiwaki, Komusubi, and Maigashira. The Maigashira wrestlers account for about 75% of the top division. Only the top rank cannot be lost due to a bad performance. As for the rest, if they get a bad performance, down they go into relegation. Well, let's get into the action on day 4, and it's between Toki and Shikishima, 2 heavyweight wrestlers. Toki 177 kilos, Shikishima 183. That's about 28 stone apiece. And there Toki opens up the bout with some pretty furious tsuppari attacks to Shikishima and drives him out for his 4th straight win. Toki doing rather well so far in this basho. Toketsumi from the Toketsukaze stable fights Kinkayama. Kinkayama, very supple wrestler, jumping out the way there, and there's an arm throw, a kotenagi. That's an arm breaker from Kinkayama. That's when they trap the arm, the lower arm, and throw their weight into it and force the other wrestler out. So a win there, 2nd win for Kinkayama over Toketsumi with kotenagi. Takanowaka, newcomer into this top division in only his 4th Makuuchi basho. Didn't do so well last basho, but plenty of time yet. He's young, he's 24. He's not particularly fat. He's got a lot of muscle on him. Here fighting Kyokuten Ho, who he dispatches fairly easily with Yorikiri. Kyokuten Ho, 25 years old, 140 kilos. Now, veteran Akinoshima facing up to Chio Tenzan. They fought 4 times previously. Chio Tenzan's won 3 of them. But Chio Tenzan's got a bad right knee, and it's cramping his style a bit. You can see it taped up there. Akinoshima piling on the pressure. There's no mercy if they have got an injury. There you see Kirikaishi, he hooks his leg behind the injured knee and dumps him over. So a neat win there by Akinoshima to give him his 2nd win. 2 wins, 2 losses so far, and the 3rd loss for Chio Tenzan. Let's watch that one again. It was rather neat. So a slightly messy start, and then Akinoshima leans in, tries to turn him sideways, almost loses it, then eventually settles in. Now he gets his leg, watch the leg, goes behind, hooks behind, and then pressures in and dumps him down. Lightweight wrestler, Kaiho, only 124 kilos. It's a mere 19.5 stone. Fights Kyokushuzan at 136. Kyokushuzan on the left has put on a bit of weight recently. 27 years old. He would help him a lot to put on that extra weight. Kaiho making all the going there. Throat thrust followed by a pull down. Dispatches Kyokushuzan. That's his 4th straight loss for the Mongolian. And 1st win for Kaiho. Tsukiyotoshi win there for Kaiho, who's named after his father's fishing boat. One wrestler waiting to go on. They have to harmonize their movements, go into the ring together, crouch down together, go through the rituals together, and then eventually into the tachiai. Kotoryu fights Tamakusuga. They fought 5 times. Tamakusuga's won 4 of them. So straight arm thrust there from Kotoryu, followed by shoulder scoop, Karasukashi, and that flips Tamakasuga to the ground very neatly. And that gives Kotoryu his third win. Kotoryu, all-round sumo wrestler, good at the pushing type sumo, also good on the belt as well. Now we have the winner of the previous tournament, Takato Riki. 32 years old, turned in a 13-win performance last time. I always used to think of him as the mean man, but we saw lots of tears when he won that last Basho. It's a softy at heart, I think. Here fighting Oginishiki. And that was a touch of masterclass there from Takato Riki. From the slam into a pull down. So when the body's crashed, he then reverses directions and pulled Oginishiki down with Hiki Otoshi. Second win so far for Takato Riki of the Futagoyama stable. It's Kaio coming up for his bout against Miyabayama. Kaio doing quite well so far, 3 wins, no losses. Miyabayama in exactly the same condition. Kaio, a very patchy performer, sometimes good, sometimes bad. Miyabayama, you rising star. It's the earlier Shikiri, not the final Shikiri. And this is when they pay a lot more attention to the start. They watch their opponent very carefully through their eyebrows because they're crouching down fairly low. Have to go and try and guess what they'll do. And there was a slow start from Kaio. Miyabayama misread it, and then he slackened off, and Kaio took advantage of it. Well, that was interesting. So Miyabayama misread that, came out too early, then wasn't sure whether the referee was going to call stop or not, and then Kaio wrapped it up and shoved him out with a push. Oshidashi win there by Kaio, 4 straight wins, and the first loss for Miyabayama. Let's watch that one again. So straight into the throat thrusts from Miyabayama, looks for the belt a bit, gets turned a bit sideways, and then turned right the way round, and there's a push from the rear, a kuridashi, and out goes Miyabayama, and that's his Oyakata, looking a bit miffed about that one. Careless move there by Miyabayama. Tochiazuma, it's the man who neatly dispatched Akibono yesterday. Fights Wakanoyama. They've only fought once before, and Tochiazuma won that. About a 20-kilo difference in weight. Wakanoyama at 162 kilos. And there's a head-butting start. And then a quick pull down from that clash. A Takikomi win there by Tochiazuma to give him 3 wins. And to notch up the 4th loss for Wakanoyama. So Wakanoyama came out there hard and fast, banged heads, but in that split second after the bang, he was just slapped down by Tochiazuma. Very quickly taken there by Tochiazuma. Takanonami doing rather well so far. He's had 3 straight wins. More often than not, he starts off badly and pulls it back towards the end of the Basho, but 3 straight wins so far, fighting Daizen, who's got 3 straight losses. They've had 10 head-to-heads before, and Takanonami's won 9 of them. You see him almost bent backwards there off that tachi-ai, but wraps his long arms around and forces him out with the Kimidashi hold. That's over the arms and round underneath. Double arm lock position from Takanonami. See Takanonami now facing his 5th time, or 5th prospect for demotion down from Ozeki. They always go a bit easier on the Ozeki when they turn in one bad performance. They allow them a couple of bad performances before they demote them. Now, Tosono Umi against Chiyo Taikai. They fought 9 times in previous Bashos. Chiyo Taikai's won 6 of them. Weight for weight, about the same. both turned in similar performances last Basho, 8 wins and 7 losses each. Some good slaps there. There was a vicious slap from Chiyo Taikai in the middle of that. Just enough to shock Tosanumi, and then a quick pull down from that. Tosanumi always comes out hard and fast from the Tachiai, renowned for his ferocious start. But there again, so's Chiyo Taikai. And that's the 3rd win for the Ozeki from the Kokonoe stable. Let's watch that one again. You see him watching very intently. Head goes in, then a push to the throat. More pushes to the throat area from both wrestlers. Then some slaps. And pushing, there's that slap, there's the one that looked like momentarily Tosanumi was stunned slightly by that slap. And 3rd win there for Chiyo Taikai. Takanohana coming in the back there, just beyond Asanowaka, who's fighting this bout against Dejima. Asanowaka, 30 years old, 138 kilos, fighting Dejima, 26, 164 kilos. That's about 26 stone for Dejima, and about 22 stone for Asanowaka. So Dejima comes out hard and fast. Well, that's an unusual move for Dejima. He jumped a bit sideways there, and he almost lost it as well. Now, Dejima normally comes out like a train on tracks, straight out, forward, right into the opponent. But there he jumped to the side, and he almost came unstuck. So, teach him a lesson, no doubt. He won, only just, and that was his 2nd win. And 2 losses as well so far. 3rd loss for Asanowaka. There's some quite exciting sumo on this day 4. Now the grand champion, Akebono, fights Tochi no Nara. These two have met 8 times previously. Akebono's won 5 of them. This is Akebono's 61st Basho, with 6 a year. That's 10 years of Bashos. That's Makuuchi Bashos we're talking about, top division stuff. And Tochi no Nara here in his 21st Basho. Tochi no Nara's good if he can get his left arm on. Akebono will come out with 2 hands, thrusting to the upper body. There it is. Pushes in hard. Tochi no Nara weathering the storm a bit, almost sidestepped. Now settling in on the belt. This is not Akebono's style. So Akebono moving forward, leaning his massive 230 kilo, 36 stone bulk on Tochi no Nara. And there's Tochi no Nara trembling on the brink there, trying to stop the massive weight of Akebono, pushing him out. Both wrestlers struggling like mad to just to force the other over the edge. And that's Tochi no Nara comes back from the brink. An amazing performance. He's outweighed by 70 kilos. That's some 11 stone. He's underweight compared with Akebono. And is it a repeat? Akebono drives him to the edge again, and that's it. Tochi no Nara runs out of steam on that one. The final push. And that's 3 wins for Akebono. And the 3rd loss for Tochi no Nara. Well, that was a good bout there. Akebono just about 6'8" tall, 36 stone, leaning on you. It's a tremendous amount of weight and power there that has to be moved. Akebono there eventually triumphing in that bout. Let's watch that one again. That was a good one. So straight out, pushes and thrusts to Tochi no Nara's upper body. There he almost gets sidestepped. He's getting better now avoiding the sidestep movements, is Akebono. And then he locks in on the belt, which is not his speciality really. And there's that final push over the edge. So we missed out the brinkmanship a little bit earlier. Now we come up to the 2nd of the Yokozuna. Of course, there's only 3 now competing, but Musashi Maru is sitting this one out. And this is between Hamanoshima, who's never in his sumo career. This is his 41st Basho. He's never beaten a Yokozuna, never had a Kinboshi, as they're called, a gold star. A Ginboshi is where you beat an Ozeki. Kinboshi, gold star against a yokozuna. So he's never had one of those. These two have fought 9 times previously, and Takanohana has won 8 of them. So let's see how they get on. Takanohana at 148 kilos, Hamanashima 120 kilos, slightly up on before, put on a bit of weight. It's good when he gets the front belt, but they're disposed of by Takanohana easily with that forearm throw, the kotenagi. Let's watch that one again. If a wrestler's going to beat Takanohana, he's got to deny him the belt grip, but Takanohana's pretty good at getting it. But there, in fact, he doesn't use it at all. He twines his arm round, he grapes right round Hamanashima's arm and spins him out with the pressure on the arm. So at the end of day 4, Takanohana with 4 straight wins, Akebono with 3 wins and 1 loss, Chio Taikai same, 3 and 1. Takanonami doing well with 4 wins and no losses. Also Toki and Kaio with 4 wins and no losses. Dejima lurking behind with 2-2. Stay with us, we'll be back after the break. Welcome back to day 5 of the Summer Basho. So at the start of day 5, we've got Takanohana with 4 straight wins, Takanonami also 4 wins, Toki and Kaio also with 4 straight wins. Akebono has 1 loss, Chio Taikai has got 1 loss, and Dejima has got 2 losses. So it's early days yet, still plenty of time for anybody to come through and win the Emperor's Cup. So into the first bout. Our first bout of day 5 is between a new wrestler, Jumonji. His name means number 10. And that's his original name. It's not his sumo name. He fights under his own name. Here fighting Kinkayama. Jumonji doing well against Kinkayama and eventually shoves him out with a few ballet movements on the edge with Skiyotoshi. A nice little series of turning movements there. Kinkayama rolling out, does a break full move. So Jumonji there, new wrestler, also from the same stable as Shikishima. Now Toki making a great business about slapping his Mawashi. It's only his 14th Basho, just over 2 years worth of sumo, or Makuuchi sumo that is, fighting Tochinohana in his first Makuuchi bout. He was originally, Tochinohana was originally a university amateur champion. But instead of going in at the near the top, which they can do if they're national champions, he started at the bottom. So he's learnt a slightly different sumo, but Toki there, who's a thoroughgoing pro, never came through the amateur ranks at all, disposing of him with skidashi or thrust out. So Tochinohana there, taking his first loss. He's been doing rather well so far. 4 straight wins to start with, as did Toki, and Toki now with 5 straight wins. There's a slap from Toki, more thrust to the throat, another thrust to the throat, slaps to the face. It's not an elegant fighter, is Toki. Pretty rough and crude, but he does rather well at it. Now Shikishima, the same stable as newcomer Jumonji, fighting Chio Tenzan. These two have fought 5 times previously. Shikishima's won 2, Chio Tenzan's won 3. But Chio Tenzan not doing so well, only turned in a 6-win performance in the last Basho. Bit lackluster, and there loses a throw attempt and gets pushed out from behind by Shikishima. So 3 wins for Shikishima. His right knee certainly seems to be a lot better. And the 4th loss for Chio Tenzan. Kyokutenho looks as though he's lost his aggression in the few days up to this point, fighting here Toketsuumi. I don't know, fairly aggressive start there, but Toketsuumi's got the more advantageous grip. All right, fairly even, got his head a bit lower, and there he's trying very hard to lift the Mongolian and eventually forces him out with the Orikiri. Looked like Kyokutenho had managed to get a a reasonably strong grip, but Tokatsuumi hustled him and forced him out. So that's the second win, much needed win for Tokatsuumi, and the third loss for Kyokuten Ho. Takanawaka fights Kotoryu. Takanawaka with 2 wins so far. Kotoryu with 3 wins, doing rather well this tournament. And Takanawaka at Maegasho is 7. Not within range of the very top ranks. In other words, he won't be matched against them, but they're being neatly disposed of by Kotoryu. Very tight wraparound hold there on the arm. And Yorikiri win by Kotoryu. Kotoryu spends a lot of time analysing his sumo, watches all the videos afterwards and tries to work out what he can do better. Kaiho, 124 kilos, fights Akinoshima. These two have never fought before. Kaiho nearly sidestepped by Akinoshima there, and some good slaps from Akinoshima, who just about manages to stay behind Kaiho there and forces him out from behind. So Kaiho came out very fast there, but almost lost it. Third win for Akinoshima and 4th loss for Kaiho. Shot of the Kokugikan there, that's the Sumo Stadium in Tokyo, home of sumo, home of the Sumo Association, Japan Sumo Association. Hamanoshima, Daizen. Hamanoshima, very light wrestler, only 120. Probably the lightest one in this division now. No, not quite. There's Terao is still a bit lighter than him. But Hamanoshima wins that one rather neatly with Yorita Oshi. And that was first win for Hamanoshima, a much needed win at that. And the 5th loss for Daizen, not doing at all well. The previous Basho we had 9 wins and 6 losses. Now Kyokushuzan, who's coming in a bit heavier, fighting Asanowaka in his 700th sumo bout. That's a lot of bouts in this clay circle here. Kyokushuzan there trying to two hands on one arm. So there it is. Now that is a Mongolian sumo move, that one. It's not in the list of recognized techniques by the Sumo Association, but it's definitely in sumo, Mongolian sumo. 2 hands on one side, 2 hands on one arm, a bit like Totari, which is in the list, but a little bit different. So, much needed first win there for Kyokushuzan over Asanowaka. Tochiazuma fights Tosanumi. Oh, look at that. Well, that's what he did to Akibono a couple of days ago. From the tachiai, a quick sidestep and a slap down, so it cuts both ways. And that was the second win for Tosanumi and Tochiazuma's second loss. It's very touch and go from these tachiai. Wrestlers never really know what the other person's going to do. When they come out like a rocket, the other person might be still in front, or he might have jumped out the way, or they might beat you to the punch and get in first. And now Tamakasuga against Miyabiyama. They fought 4 times previously, and Miyabiyama has won all 4 of them. And that's his 5th time. Tamakasuga trying hard there, but the sheer power of Miyabiyama, he's some 30 kilos heavier. That's just under 5 stone heavier, was enough to force Tamakasuga out. And a little bundle of envelopes by the look of it. At the end there, some Kensho money. Let's watch that one again. Notice how carefully they watch each other. And just as they meet, drops the head down. And he's leaning into it there. Almost gets driven back by Tamakasuga. Then eventually starts moving forward and drives Tamakasuga out over the edge just before he himself crashes down to the clay surface of the dohyo. His dojo are rebuilt every tournament, not the whole lot, usually about top 2 tons of it are replaced, carefully tapped into place. Here, Takatoriki against Dejima. They fought 12 times previously. Dejima's won 9 of them. Dejima not looking too good though in this tournament. There he forces Takatoriki out with some pretty determined pushes there. Oshidashi win by Dejima. 10th win for Dejima in their head-to-head so far. Passive as ever, accept the referee's decision and any prize money that's going. It'll probably look the same even if they'd just been beaten. Now the Zeki, next Ozeki coming out, Takanonami. He's facing demotion, although he's got 4 straight wins so far, and he's fighting Tochi no Nada. Roughly the same weight, both about 165 kilos, that's 26 stone apiece. Tochi no Nada did well his last tournament, had 9 wins and 6 losses. Takanonami, 7 wins and 8 losses. So there's a hard slam. Takanonami locking round, that's the Kimi hold we saw him win with last time, but didn't do him much good there. Tremendous power from Tochi no Nada. Simply just spun him over using his arms. Well, Takanonami's just under 170 kilos, that's just under 27 stone. Just gets flipped off his feet by Tochi no Nada with the Skuinagi throw. Impressive performance there from the 26-year-old Tochi no Nada. It's Kayo coming on. And Akibano. These two coming up in a couple of bouts. But right now we have Chio Taikai. Eternal Great Sea is what his name means, from the same stable as Chiyo no Fuji. Note the similar name to start with. Chio means eternal. And then Wakanoyama from the Musashigawa stable. These two have only fought once before and Wakanoyama won it. Well, Chio Taikai determined to avenge that particular loss, no doubt, making all the going, and there it is. That's a hard, it's a bit of a grudge match there, I think. Certainly that last push from Chio Taikai looked very aggressive. And looks like he hurt himself there, he hurt his hands on those pushes. See the way his hands are all taped up, or was it his shoulder? Yeah, shoulder looks so he's hurting. Difficult to say. Pick up so many injuries. So that was the 4th win for Chio Taikai and the 5th straight loss for Wakanoyama. Now on to the penultimate bout of the day between the, well, not between the Yokozuna, with the Yokozuna. We'll take it in turns from day to day to go first. And this one, it's between Takanohana and Ogi Nishiki. They fought 13 times, but Takanohana's won 11 of them. Ogi Nishiki back in the Makuuchi division after a spell in the Juryo due to a bad injury. He's a tricky wrestler. Hasn't got much of a tournament record. He's had 4 tournament prizes, which means 4 good performances, outstanding performances in tournaments. But Takanohana gets his hand on the belt there and disposes of him. Certainly Takanohana is looking strong. He's down to 148 kilos. That's down about 12 kilos. Skin looks better, face looks better. And he looks like he's back on track maybe. He's 27 years old, plenty of time for more tournament wins. He's won 20 of them so far. 20 Emperor's Cups. But the all-time record is held by the great Taiho with 32 wins, followed next by Chiyonofuji with 31 wins. So he's got a way to go. And it's going to be difficult, I think. So there we see the opening skirmishes in that bout. Then eventually Takanohana gets that right arm on the belt. And that really is the beginning of the end for most wrestlers. And there, a heave and a turn and a push. And out goes Ogi Nishiki. Akebono, 230 kilograms, 506 pounds, 36 stone. Fights Kayo, a mere 172 kilos, or 27 stone. These two have fought 27 times, and of those head-to-heads, Akebono's won 20 of them, 21 of them. He averages 5 seconds about. And Kayo coming into this particular bout with 4 straight wins. Well, we know he has good halves and bad halves to his tournament. He's looking bright-eyed there and bushy-tailed. So how will Kayo handle this one? So the straight 2-arm push from Akebono. More of those. He's got to watch he doesn't get sidestepped. Kayo digging in hard. And now this is where the massive bulk of Akebono comes into play and drives Kayo out. So the first loss for Kayo. Trouble with Kayo is once he starts to lose, he goes on to lose, but let's hope he can pull it back. And that was the 4th win for Akebono. 4 wins and 1 loss for the grand champion so far. So let's watch that one again. There's the 2-hand, the Morozki, double-handed thrust. And then eventually he bears down on Kayo and drives him out. So, the end of day 5, we have Takanohana with 5 straight wins, no losses. Akebono with 4 wins and 1 loss. Chiotakai 4-1, Takanonami 4-1. Toki with 5 straight wins, Kayo with 4 wins and 1 loss. And Dejima with 3 wins and 2 losses. But stay with us, we'll be back after the break with day 6. Hello and welcome back to day 6. In the lead is this man Takanohana with 5 straight wins, along with Toki, also with 5 straight wins. Early days yet, and any one of a clutch of wrestlers could come through. And on past form, probably one of the lower ranking ones, but we'll see. Many days yet to go. So into the first bout of day 6 between newcomer Jumonji, who fights under his real name, not his sumo name, and he's against Toki, whose father was a pro sumo wrestler before him, although he didn't get very far, only got into the 2nd division, the Jonidan division. And Jumonji winning there, he's doing rather well so far in his Makuuchi debut. 4 wins and 2 losses, and the first loss for Toki. Kotonowaka from the Sadogatake stable, and Takanowaka from the Naruto stable. Takanowaka does a lot of weight training, although the sumo fraternity as a whole don't believe in heavy weight training. Some of the amateur stables do, though. They've got some pretty heavy weights at Nichidai. But anyway, there's evidence of the weight training from Takanowaka as he forces out the heavier, much heavier, Kotonowaka with Yorikiri. 3 wins for Takanowaka. Akinoshima, been in pro sumo, top division sumo since '88. It's a long time. Hayate Yumi, newcomer from the great Nichidai stable. So obviously it's Hayate Yumi there, getting spun over by the master. So that was a leg grab there, or touch on the inside. Komata Sukui, slightly unusual technique. Let's watch that one again. You can see the details of it. So Akinoshima comes out hard and fast, almost bends Hayate Yumi back. You can see him driving in with his head. Tries a pull down there on the belt, Ikitoshi, but doesn't come off. Hayate Yumi survives that one. There's another one. And then digs in at the edge. Foot going back, and then there's a push just behind the thigh. Difficult to see that one. Tapped by Akinoshima with his left and spills Hayate Yumi over. So Hayate Yumi takes his first loss, so he's also doing very well. Kyokuten Ho straight into Kinkayama. These two have fought 3 times before. Kyokuten Ho's won 2 of them. Both wrestlers around the average weight for this division, about 25 stone or so apiece. Both locked in tight on the belt. Yotsu Sumo, they call it. And there's a leg hook, but unable to rock Kyokuten Ho's balance. And a much-needed win there for Kyokuten Ho of the Oshima stable. Chikon desu as the referee, time's up. That's after the 4 minutes or so allotted ritual time. And it means that they've got to go into the tachiai. So Tokatsuemi against Chio Tenzan. Few slaps to open up with, and then straight onto the belt with two of them, and then it's the battle of the bellies. It's very difficult in this position. Two arms locked on both sides. Both wrestlers lift against their own weight. And there, nice bit of brinkmanship by Chio Tenzan. And he forces Tokatsuemi over the edge. Hard-fought battle, that. And some prize money for Chio Tenzan. Chio Tenzan. Eternal Heavenly Mountain is what his name means, and his second win. Kotoryu, in his 26th Basho, fights Oginishiki here on the left in his 40th Basho. So high early start there from Kotoryu. Get your hands down, says the ref. And then it's boxing for positions, looking for the belt, but there's a throw. Well, that was rather nice. That was the underarm throw. And Oginishiki spun rather neatly over there. Kotoryu is certainly doing well in this tournament. That's his fifth win against only one loss. And that was the fourth loss for Oginishiki. See the young Yobidashi there. Come in and start at quite an early age, taking the sagari, that's the spiky bits that hang down from the belt, from the winner there. Now on to the next bout. Daizen, 35 years old, getting pretty ancient against Kaiho at 27. Daizen on the right here, old timer. He's got 5 losses straight so far, but that's his first win by the look of it. Yep. When they squat down like that, it means the referee acknowledges their win. So that's the first win for Daizen and the 5th loss for Kaiho. So they both end up with the same score, 1 win, 4 losses. No, they don't. It's 1 win and 5 losses. Now, Wakanoyama against Hamanoshima. These two have fought 4 times previously, and Wakanoyama's won 4 of them. A lot of gamesmanship at the start of these tachiai. They've both got to put 2 hands down, and one wrestler can be slow and wait. Then the referee has to call mata, or stop. But that was a fair start. And there you see the push into the pull. Wakanoyama driving his head in just into the chest area below the chin of Hamanoshima. Whoops, well, Hamanoshima skidded a bit there, tried a pull down, but lost it. And a win there, much needed first win for Wakanoyama, Young Mountain. 5th loss for Hamanoshima. Now is Asanowaka, the man who was told to to stop his, he used to have a rather extravagant way of coming in the ring, chucking a huge amount of salt up in the air. He was told not to do it, and now he's gone exactly the opposite way and sprinkles a little bit behind him as he goes in. So Asanowaka against Tosonoumi. Tosonoumi there, overwhelming him with straight pushes. Both of these ex-amateur champions. Tosonoumi was from Doshisha University, and Asanowaka was from Kinki University. Spelt K-I-N-K-I. So 3rd win there for Tosonoumi and 5th loss for Asanowaka. Now this is an interesting one. Miyabayama against Takato Riki. It was Takato Riki who said in the early days when Miyabayama first came into top division sumo that he had a face that looked as though it had never been slapped. But a lot of wrestlers believed that and tried slapping it, but it didn't get them anywhere. So a head-butting start. And there's some slaps back from Miyabayama. Takatoriki really going on this one. There's some more slaps on that unslapped face. Even more. This is turning into a real boxing match. This is brilliant. Takatoriki surviving there, dancing around the edge. And a single one-arm push from Miyabiyama clinches it at the end. Well, Takatoriki discovering there whether his words were true or not. Certainly got in a lot of slaps on that face there of Miyabiyama. Looks like he's raised a bruise on his eye by the look of it, on that right eye of his. Well, that was a lively match. And that was Miyabiyama's 5th win. Yes, caught it there on the eye. You can see the bruise coming up. Let's watch that one again. So clash of heads at the start, and then some slaps to the face from Miyabiyama. Very swift turn there by Miyabiyama. Almost lost it. Some more wild slaps. Look at that. Takatoriki reckons to come up and under. Looks for the uppercut. Tries to catch him under the chin. You get a taste of it there. Reckons he can knock him out with it. But Miyabiyama chases him with his own slaps. And then eventually, as Takatoriki looks like he's running out of steam a bit, steps back off that. Well, almost looks as though he'd had enough at that point and stepped backwards. Well, that was a lively one. Tochi Azuma. The Eastern Chestnut is what his name means. Fights the eternal great sea. Chio Taikai. These two have fought 11 times. Tochi Azuma's won 7 of them previously. Good headbutting start there, followed by some wicked slaps from Chio Taikai. Chio Taikai making all the running, then gets pulled forward. And that's a nice win for Tochi Azuma. See his lips swelling a little bit from that, from the slapping there on the face. So don't forget, there's 25, 26 stone of weight behind those slaps. We've seen earlier in this Basho, it's enough to knock people out. Had a couple of concussed wrestlers earlier on. And that was the 4th win for Tochi Azuma. You can see him there licking his lips. Let's watch that one again. So there the heads clash. There's those thrusts and slaps to the face from Chio Taikai, but he's been driven backwards as he does it. Bad sign, got to move forward on that. Comes back and then sidestep there, and then he just can't, no way can he recover his balance from that one and drops down. So that's 2nd loss for Chio Taikai and the 4th win for Tochi Azuma. Well, here we have 2 rivals who've been in sumo almost since the year dot. They both started sumo at primary school. And they've been rivals since primary school. Dejima against Tochi Nonada. They fought 6 times. Dejima's won 5 of them. And there's the 6th time. It's more like classical Dejima. Straight out, feet moving with the thrusts. And Tochi Nonada overpowered and forced out with Yorikiri. So that's 4 wins for Dejima. Only 2 wins so far. There's Wakanohana in his retirement gear, sitting there, working as security on the Hanamichi. That's one of the functions of the Oyakata. That's to sit along the Hanamichi and do, as I say, the security role. There was a death threat a few years ago to Takanohana, and the place was crawling with Oyakata at that point. Now, next match, Takanonami fights Kyokushuzan. Well, this should be good. Takanonami much heavier, some 30 kilos heavier. Kyokushuzan got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Mongolian sumo tricks. So will he try something different? He looks so he's about to. Well, it comes out very standard textbook stuff there. Trying to fight the big man at his straight ordinary sumos, pushing into his throat. Tries a double arm grab, same as we saw him before. Almost gets behind. Tries a leg grab. Some nice Mongolian stuff here. Takanonami locks in and finally overpowers him. So touch and go there for a few seconds. Looked to me like Kyokushuzan looked as though Mongolian sumo was going to beat Japanese sumo, but eventually Takanonami recovered it, locked on and forced him out with Yorikiri. Nice sequence of moves there. It's Kaio waiting to go on. That's who he's going to fight, Takanohana. So, the first of the Yokozuna. Akebono against Tamakasuga. Akebono some 80 kilos heavier, that's 12.5 stone heavier than Tamakasuga. He's got very wide shikiri position there, knees go wide, touches down with both hands. Certainly looking a lot more determined is Akebono. These two have fought, had 9 head-to-heads previously. Akebono has won 6 of them. Tamakasuga turned in a poor performance last time, only 5 wins, so maybe that's an indication of his condition now. 2 straight thrusts from Akebono. Oh, look at the power of that Yokozuna there. No mucking about. Totally overwhelmed Tamakasuga. So Akebono must be shaping up as one of the contenders, as he did in the last 2 previous Bashos for the Cup at the end. He's only had 1 loss so far, can't really afford to lose again, but he's certainly looking mentally together. And despite his heavier weight, he's handling it well. His lower half, his legs are supporting him much better than previously. And now, Kaio Takanohana. Well, this is going to be a good one. Kaio, in one of his good phases, by the look of it. Stamps the ground there with a shiko. It's one of the things they have to do at the start. Yobidashi clicks the sticks together, calls out the names. These two have fought 33 times. Takanohana's won 23 of them. Kaio at 172 kilos, Takanohana slightly lighter these days at 148. Some 3 stone difference between them, 20 kilos. And Takanohana with 5 straight wins, Kaio with 4 straight wins. So how will this match go? Kaio certainly looking bright-eyed. He's got a reputation as being a heavy drinker, a really heavy drinker. But he's been off the booze, by all accounts, for some time, and he seems to be looking better for it. So Takanohana looking for the belt, but Kaio using his greater weight, forcing into the Yokozuna. Yokozuna coming back, there's an arm throw. So that's a win there for Kaio, first loss for Takanohana. So Kaio certainly looking stronger. Well, that was a hard-fought bout there by Kaio. Well, is Kaio going to come through and take this tournament? It's funny how you see a wrestler on a roll, and he's got all the makings of that. He's looking good. Plenty of slip there, of course. It's a slippery surface in this ring. So there we see it again. Takanohana trying to get the belt and trying to push him out. There's the double arm lock, or the 2-handed arm lock on Takanohana's arm. So at the end of day 6, we have sharing the lead with 5 wins and 1 loss. Takanohana, Akebono, Kaio, Takanonami, Miyabiyama and Kotoryu. Quite a lot there. And also Toki and Hayateyumi. All shaping up, as you can see on the screen there, 5 wins and 1 loss. So thank you for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow with days 7, 8 and 9 of the Basho. This is Sid Hoare from Tokyo. Bye for now and sayonara. Hello and welcome to days 7, 8 and 9, the midway stage of the Natsu Basho, the Summer Grand Sumo Tournament from Tokyo, Japan. My name is Sid Hoare. In theory, the Yokozuna and Ozeki rank should win most of the Basho, and up to about a year and a half ago they did. Their win-loss rates always head the list. But the Banzuke ranking system is not a perfect one, and we have seen outsiders come through to win a number of Basho recently. There are some patterns to the Basho. A common one is for a strong newcomer to come into the Makuuchi division and start with a brilliant score and a prize in his debut tournament. He then goes high up the rankings and then slowly slides down to find his position somewhere in the middle of the Mai Gashira. We have seen some pretty soft promotions to Ozeki rank, and then we've seen those wrestlers struggling to maintain their positions. And of course we've seen an increase in injuries, which of course upsets the Banzuke lists. Saddest of all is to watch a slow decline of a once good wrestler. But let's get into the action, and here we see perhaps one of those slowly declining wrestlers. It's Terao. He's had 2 bad tournaments previous to this. 5-10 and then 7-8, 2 Maki Koshis, and here he is at Maegashira 13, which is just one step away. He's not exactly bottom of the list, that would be Maegashira 14, but he's not doing too well this tournament. He's had 4 losses so far against 2 wins, and here he is with his Suppari attacks, but not quite the old whirlwind style that we saw in the past, when you could hardly see his arms move as he came out slapping at the throat and chest of the other wrestler. And there we see a bit of, well, wrestling, I suppose you call that. Arm over the head, not one of the recognized techniques. And Tokitsumi then forces him out with Yorikiri to give Tokitsumi his 3rd win. Tochinohana, newcomer, doing very well. He's 149 kilos here, fighting veteran Akinoshima, who's been in this Makuuchi division for 12 years. That's over 70 Basho, as opposed to Tochinohana's first Basho here in the Makuuchi division. And the two come in almost bang heads. And Akinoshima started a drive in back there, but lost it. Tochinohana drove his head down as Akinoshima was pushing him, and that drove him into the clay dohyo. And the 6th win for Tochinohana. So doing very well so far, one of the front runners. And Akinoshima with his 3rd loss. Kotoryu fights Shikishima on the left there. 17 fights they've had before. Shikishima's won 12 of them. So the odds are on Shikishima. But Kotoryu, they're doing well. Gets a good solid hold and lifts him out to give Kotoryu his 6th win. 9 wrestlers in this tournament so far, with a 5-1 score. And Kotoryu, they're going up 6-1. Kaiho has had 5 losses so far. Chiotenzan 4 losses. Neither of them are doing particularly well. Kaiho stopped in his tracks there by Chiotenzan's 2 hands to his shoulder. Kaiho's a very skillful wrestler. There's a nice slap there. He chucked in a good harite slap to the side of Chiotenzan's face that knocked him off balance. And then he followed that up with a push out from behind. So neatly timed move there by the lightweight wrestler Kaiho, ex-Nichidai amateur, top amateur stable, Nichidai graduate. Kyokuten Ho fights Tamakasuga. These two have fought 5 times previously. Tamakasuga's won 4 of them. And there's a double inside grip there. Morozashi hold by Tamakasuga. Very powerful hold. And Kyokuten Ho's trying to arm lock him. He's got the Kime hold. That's the reply to that double grip. That's a touch and go. Beautiful bout, this one. So it was a battle of the grips there, as Tamakasuga had 2 hands inside, Kyokuten Ho had 2 arms round over the top, and eventually Tamakasuga upset Kyokuten Ho's balance and drove him out. So it's full house today in this stadium, first time in this Basho. The first 6 days there were a lot of empty seats. It's hotting up a bit. The sumo's been good. Kyokushuzan, Mongolia, fights newcomer Takanowaka here in his 4th Basho. He's 137 kilos, almost exactly the same weight as Kyokushuzan. It's about 21 stone. Now there's an early start there by Kyokushuzan. Mada, 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 says the referee. That means not yet, not yet. And Takanowaka there makes all the going after that restart. Comes out hard, feet moving hard behind his, or keeping up with his slaps to Kyokushuzan's face. And Kyokushuzan there racking up his 6th loss. Oginishiki now fights Wakanoyama. Wakanoyama means young mountain. 28 years old, not so young by sumo standards. And also Oginishiki, 28 years old. These two have never fought before. They're both veterans, both been around a long time. Wakanoyama came into the Makuuchi division in 92, then he missed 28 Bashos as he slipped down the divisions a bit. Oginishiki there winning his third bout in this tournament so far. And that was the 6th loss for Wakanoyama. Let's watch Asanowaka there in the background. You can see he doesn't do much of a assault scattering move now. And here fighting Takuto Riki. These two have had 10 head-to-heads before. Takuto Riki's won 7 of them. And that's a head-banging start there from Takuto Riki. Asanowaka, unusually, winning after the Tachi-ai. Well, of course, everything follows the Tachi-ai, but usually he wins on the Tachi-ai. He's good at shifting his body position right at the start. But there, driving Takuto Riki out with a series of thrusts to the body. So second much-needed win for Asanowaka. Tochino Nada, still with a bad elbow. Seems to have recovered a bit. He's had it for some time. We're fighting Kaio. Kaio some 10 kilos heavier at 172. That's 26.5 stone. Measured start there by Kaio, who's been looking good so far, and a very powerful performance from the Komusubi wrestler. That's his 6th straight win. 6 wins and 1 loss, and the 5th loss for Tochino Nada. Well, Kaio's got this reputation for being a heavy drinker, and possibly in the past it's affected his sumo, but he's seems to be getting the upper hand on that one. So let's watch that. So it comes out hard and fast, drops his head just before the atari, the slam, and then starts moving forward, powering in, and all the way over the edge for Tochino Nada. And there's that final push to the body that sends Tochino Nada into the audience. Now, Ozeki. Takanonami fights Tochiazuma. Tochiazuma, very skillful wrestler here at Sekiwaki rank. He's had last 2 Bashos, he's scored 8-7 each time. But of course, at the rank he is, he fights all the top men, the Yokozuna and all the other Ozekis. So it's difficult to get a really good score there. These two have fought 17 times. Takanonami's won 11 of them. Tochiazuma's a bit small. He's only a mere 147 kilos, but he's 100% sumo man. His father's Oyakata, and there Tochiazuma demonstrating his skill with that overarm throw as he dumps Takanonami over the side for Takanonami's 2nd loss. So it's okay so far for Takanonami. He's got to get at least Kachikoshi. That's more wins than losses in this tournament. And he's got 5 wins and 2 losses so far. So still a chance for him to stay at Ozeki rank. Let's watch that one again. Tochiazuma comes out, starts to block off Takanonami's left arm there. Gets his hand on the belt first, but we've seen this pattern before. Takanonami likes to take the high overhand grip. There he's locking under the armpit and bearing up. That has the effect of cancelling out the lifting action of the other wrestler, but Tochiazuma spins him over with the overarm throw. Karate fighter, Chio Taikai, was a karate champion when he was at high school. Used to like karate, he said, because he could knock him down. Found sumo was a natural extension of his karate. Here fighting Hamanoshima, Mr. Perfect Tachi-ai. So let's watch Hamanoshima's Tachi-ai there. And Chio Taikai making all the going. Now that's what Tsupari looks like, and look at that. Well, that was almost like a karate blow at the end there. Chio Taikai smashes Hamanoshima down with that final push. That's more like Ozeki attack. He's had a pretty poor run of Bashos. Had 8 wins last one, before that was 9, before that was 9. Should be around the 12 win mark each time for an Ozeki. Let's Miyabiyama coming on for his bout against Akibono. But not just yet. A couple more before that. So the two wrestlers can sit there and look at each other across the dohyo as they wait their turn. Coming up now is Dejima. Fights under his own name. He's from the Musashigawa stable. And fighting Tosonoumi from the Issei no Umi stable. These two have fought 12 times before. Dejima's won 7 of them. Hard start by Dejima. Came out hard and fast, head low. But Tosonoumi there handled him well. Dejima came out a little bit too fast at the end there, and Tosonoumi pulled him down and slapped him down with Hataki Komi. So that was the 4th win for Tosonoumi and the 3rd loss for Dejima. Not doing too well at this early stage of the Basho for the Ozeki. Now Daizen. It's a good shot there. Back a bit, you can see the two wrestlers crouching down for their penultimate shikiri. They do 4 of these, 4 crouch downs, and it's the last one. And the referee says Jikan desu. Then they know that this is going to be it. So Daizen, been around a long time, was komusubi, reached the rank of komusubi in 1994. Been out of the Makuuchi division a bit. And he's fought Takanohana 8 times, and Takanohana's won all of them. So a slightly relaxed performance there by Takanohana. Just looking for that belt grip with one arm. Seems to be taking this fairly easily, and there forces Daizen out. So Takanohana there looking very confident, just leading with that right arm of his, looking for the inside hold, the sashi. Call the sashi grip on the inside. So 6 wins and 1 loss for Takanohana by day 7 of this Basho. So it's a Yorikiri win. So let's watch that one again. So he's almost sidestepped, but he's got his right hand in there. Then eventually he gets it on, spins his opponent round, then fronts up, gets his grip again. And then, as we've seen many a time, once he's got his powerful arms on the belt, then there's not much the other wrestlers can do. Although Daizen struggling hard there and eventually gets nudged over the edge. Now, Akibono, heaviest Yokozuna ever, at 230 kilos, that's 506 pounds, fights Miyabiyama. Both of these were the same score, 5 wins and 1 loss apiece. They fought each other 4 times before, each has won twice. Miyabiyama, a relative newcomer to this Makuuchi division, came in 99 from the collegiate ranks, although he didn't complete his studies at Meiji University. He dropped out halfway and came into pro sumo. He's done very well since then, didn't do very well as an amateur. Average sort of performance. Akibono's been in this Makuuchi sumo for 10 years. So let's see what the grand champion makes of this upstart. And a comfortable win there by the grand champion. So 6 wins and 1 loss now. And Miyabiyama's 2nd loss. Certainly Akibono's looking more and more confident these days. And Akibono squats down and collects a little bit of prize money. So that was a Yorikiri win. Akibono comfortably over Miyabiyama. Let's just watch that one again. Pretty straightforward, straight out, 2 hands leading, moves forward, drives Miyabiyama out, backwards and out. So at the end of day 7, we've got 6 wrestlers with a 6-1 score. It's Akibono, Takanohana, Kayo, Kotoryu, Toki and Tochinohana, but not quite at the halfway stage yet, and all to play for. And with this bow twirling ceremony, the Yumitori Shiki, we go into the break. Do stay with us, we'll be back very soon with more sumo. To day 8 of the Summer Basho. 6 wrestlers with a 6-1 score, any one of whom could come through. Had a couple of incidents recently in the sumo, quite interesting. Yesterday, a wrestler's belt fell off. They don't wear anything underneath, so that hit the world's media. Chindashi, they call it, when the belt falls off and exposes everything. And earlier today, we actually had a fight in the ring, so things ain't quite what they used to be. So let's get into the bouts on day 8 between Kinkayama and Higunoumi. So referee there saying not yet, not yet. Like to see both hands go down together. So slap there from Higunoumi, followed by a shoulder slap down. So that's the 4th win for Higunoumi and the 6th loss, Kinkayama. Kinkayama was in the Juryo division just before this Basho. Before that, he was in the Makuuchi division, but put in a bad score, so dropped down again. Now Toki, Mr. Sideburns, never trims them apparently, hasn't touched them in 4 or more years. Fighting Kotonowaka. Oh, Kotonowaka surprisingly looking good there. He's slid right down the rankings. He's at Maigashira 14, so definitely needs a kachikoshi this tournament if he's going to escape demotion down to the Juryo division. Set out the last Basho due to an injury. The one before that only scored 6 wins. So he needs to perk up a bit. Takanowaka. 2 newcomers here. One in his 4th Basho, that's Takanowaka. One in his 1st Basho, that's Tochinohana. And that's a win there for Tochinohana. That's his 7th win against 1 loss. So doing extremely well. As often happens when a good ex-amateur champion comes in, they do very well the 1st Basho, get a good score. 2nd time they come out in the Makuuchi division, they go right the way up to maybe Maigashira 5 or 6. Then they run into trouble, and then they slowly go down the rankings. Some don't, of course, some just keep on going up, and those are the real champions. So a nice exchange of blows here from Takanowaka, but Tochinohana overcoming him and drives him out. And that was the 4th loss, that previous bout for Takanowaka. Kinoshima, short squat wrestler, 153 kilos, about 5'9" or so. A lot of weight near the ground here, fighting Kyokuten Ho. Is a bit of a softie. Well, he can't be that soft because he wouldn't be fighting in this division. But he gives the appearance of being a bit soft. And there, bundled out, Yorikiri'd out by Akinoshima to give him, Akinoshima, his 700th career win. He's came into sumo in 88, 18 years ago. Came into the Makuuchi division in 88. So he came in 82 and into the Makuuchi division 6 years later. Kaiho, ex-Nichidai, amateur champion, fighting Tokitsuumi, also ex-amateur champion. And there, not much to choose between them weight-wise. Tokitsuumi a few kilos, 4 kilos heavier than Kaiho, but a good deal taller, pushing the smaller wrestler out with Yorikiri. So 4th win for Tokitsuumi and 6th loss for Kaiho. Kaiho at Maigashira 5, comfortable, can afford to slip a few ranks. Chio Tenzan from the Kokonoi stable, got a bad right knee. So suddenly the referees are cracking down on the Tachiai. Despite all the fuss they make about this, it doesn't really change. They still do much the same start. Somebody's at the top of the head. Sumo Association's got an ideal view of what the Tachiai should look like. Causes a lot of fuss. Wrestlers seem to ignore it more or less. So a nice win there by Chio Tenzan. So quite a mix up there. And then just dives in, just about goes, touches the ground outside ahead of Chio Tenzan. So a nice open bout there. And it was anybody's bout until the very end. The view of the Kokugikan, the sumo stadium. Around the top of the stadium are the portraits of the winning Rikishi. Now, Hamanoshima fights Kyokushuzan. Kyokushuzan, the Mongolian. Hamanoshima from the Mihogaseki stable. So, Kyokushuzan not doing too well. He's got 6 losses so far. What's he going to do here? So, tries Mainawumi's old favourite technique, but he kind of delayed it a bit. That's that high leap into the air. It's called Yasotobi. And Mainawumi used to leap up. That's the little, really superb technician who retired recently. Kyokushuzan left it slightly. Hamanoshima wins that one. This is only his 2nd win so far, and 7th loss for Kyokushuzan, so he's getting perilously close to Makekoshi. Young Mounting fights Young Morning. So what their names mean. Asanowaka means Young Morning. Not from the same stable, despite the similarity of the names. Asanowaka from the Wakamatsu stable. They're getting shoved out by Wakanoyama with Oshidashi, push out. So that was the 6th loss for Asanowaka. He did reasonably well his previous Basho, scored 8 with 7 losses. The one before that was a bit disastrous, only had 3 wins. But at Maegashira 1, he's doing reasonably well. Now, Tosanowumi. One of these wrestlers who never quite makes it. There's a hard start there. You hear the heads cracking. Against Kotoryu, they've had 5 head-to-heads previously. Tosanoumi's won 4 of them. Kotoryu's doing well this tournament. He's got 6 wins so far, only 1 loss. Skillful wrestler. Came into sumo in 1987. One of the teenage entries. Didn't come in via the amateur ranks. So there's Kotoryu trying the underarm throw, but Tosanoumi's hanging on in there. He's some 10 kilos heavier than Kotoryu. And eventually Tosanoumi wins that one. Kotoryu's foot skidded over the edge. And that's the 5th win for Tosanoumi. Quite a lot of tension in these wrestlers up to around the midway point. They want to quickly get up to that 8th win, then they can relax and feel comfortable about their sumo. Desperately try and avoid the 8 losses. Now, Tochino Nada against Takuto Riki. Takuto Riki complaining that he can't seem to be able to keep his feet on the ground. So a nice series of slaps there. Tochino Nada giving him as good as he gets. And then eventually a force out. Yorikiri as the slaps stop and they close in on the body. Tochino Nada, ex-amateur champion. Won 2 tournament prizes before. And 5 times beaten a Yokozuna, Kimboshi. Now, 2 Chuo University amateur sumo champions. Tomokusuga is the senpai, that's the senior of the 2, but not that it'll make any difference here. So Dejima there avoids the early slam and then follows up. Tomokusuga giving him some stick, but Dejima keeps his head low and drives him out with Yorikiri. These 2 had fought previously 11 times. This makes it 12, and Dejima's won 8 of them. Coming out. 6'8" of him. 506 pounds. Sounds a lot, 506 pounds, it's 36 stone. And now Kaio against Takanonami. Takanonami, the Ozeki, who's 5th time facing demotion as Ozeki. Struggled back 4 times before. Can he do it this time? Kaio, these 2 have fought 37 times and Takanonami's won 21 of them. So they're well used to each other's sumo, but Kaio gets that right hand grip on very quickly and forces Takanonami out. One-way sumo that. Takanonami not in that bout at all. They say that when you go for the belt, you should slap your hand on, and that's exactly what Kaio did. You could hear the slap as his hand hit Takanonami's mawashi. Let's watch that one again. And there's that right arm, that powerful right arm that just drives Takanonami backwards. Takanonami's struggling there as he moves back and over the edge. So seven wins now for Kaio. And the third loss for Takanonami. Still safe enough for Takanonami. Tachiazuma and Takanohana coming up for their bout shortly. And now Chio Taikai. Well, Chio Taikai looked really good yesterday. Came out like an absolute maniac and won very swiftly. Here fighting Miyabiyama. He's got a pretty rough style of sumo himself. These two have fought 4 times previously. Each has won twice. It's going to be a hard head-banging start, I predict. And there it is. The two heads go in hard. Miyabiyama opens up with the slaps and the pushes. Chio Taikai getting into gear a bit. And Miyabiyama there, sidestepped. Thought he had Chio Taikai on the edge. Chio Taikai evaded that, slightly twisted his upper body, and that was enough to send Miyabiyama off balance and on his way out over the edge. So 6th win for Chio Taikai and 3rd loss for Miyabiyama. See the bruises on the eye there. Scar also you can see on Chio Taikai's right eyebrow. So let's watch that one. So there's the heads cracking off. Miyabiyama looking as though he's opening up with the slaps. More often than not, it's Chio Taikai who wants to lead off with that. And Miyabiyama apparently making all the going, and then there you see at the end, he pushes with 2 hands. Chio Taikai twists, and Miyabiyama loses it. Now, Chad, as he's known. Akibono. 31 years old, been doing well recently. Seems to have got some power back in his lower legs, which is where he used to lose before, fighting Oginishiki. Baby-faced Oginishiki back in the Makuuchi division after a spell of in the Juryo due to an injury. Akibono with 6 wins and 1 loss so far. And, well, David and Goliath there. Well, not quite, because David lost that time. Goliath overcoming little Oginishiki. 7 wins for Akibono. And the 5th loss for Oginishiki. Well, Akibono's certainly looking good recently. Both he and Takanohana are firming up. But of course, it depends on what the other wrestlers are like. And now, the other grand champion, Noble Flower, fights Tachiazuma, the Eastern Chestnut. It's the meaning of their names. But this is going to be a good one. They fought 16 times previously with each other, and Takanohana's won 12 of those head-to-heads. Takanohana with 6 wins at this stage of the Basho, Tachiazuma with 5. So both running fairly close. Tachiazuma, a tricky wrestler, well grounded in sumo, started very young. His father's an oyakata, runs the Tamanoi stable, which is the one that Tachiazuma belongs to and which he'll inherit in due course. So the form says Takanohana's going to win, but let's see. Tachiazuma's already beaten Akibono. Putting in a good attack here, driving the grand champion backwards. Touch and go. Looks like he's got the measure of Takanohana. Well, now what was that happen there? 2 of them stepped out at the same time. It was all Tachiazuma's attack, and both legs looked as though they were going out. Well, it's Mono-e. That's an objection by one of the umpires, the Shimpan. Haven't seen one of these Mono-e for a bit. So let's look at that at the end. Now, who steps out first? Tachiazuma did. So the referee, originally the Gyoji gave it to Takanohana, and the umpires uphold the decision. Gunbai Dori means yes, Takanohana won that one, and as we saw in the slow motion, it looked very much like Tochiazuma just touched down ahead of Takanohana. So let's watch that one again. Exciting bout. Tochiazuma really looked as though he had the grand champion on the run. Pushing in hard, driving him away, push and thrust, hand into the chin. Takanohana struggling to get the grip on the belt, but eventually they both go out. So at the end of day 8, Akebono, Takanohana, Kaio and Tochinohana with 7 wins and 1 loss. And Chiyo Taikai, Kotoryu, Toki and Kotonowaka with 6 wins and 2 losses. But don't go away, we'll be back shortly. Welcome back to day 9 of the Basho, just over the halfway stage, and we've got 4 wrestlers in the lead. Akebono and Takanohana, the 2 Yokozuna, Kaio and Tochinohana all with 7 wins and 1 loss. And 1 step behind, Chiyo Taikai, Kotoryu, Toki and Kotonowaka with 6 wins and 2 losses. So into our first bout of day 9. Takanohana, slimish wrestler, used to play a bit of basketball when he was at high school. Here fighting Toki. Toki's doing well this tournament, had 6 wins so far, but they're notching up his 3rd loss with that slap down from Takanohana. So 5 wins for Takanohana and 6 wins for Toki. Asano Sho fights Chiyo Tenzan. Asano Sho means soaring up in the morning. Chiyo Tenzan means in eternal heavenly mountains. Quite exotic, some of these names. Chiyo Tenzan there making all the going, slapping out Asano Sho with some Tsuppari attacks, followed up by Oshidashi at the end. 4th win for Chiyo Tenzan. Asano Sho racks up his 9th straight loss, not doing at all well. Turned in a 6-9 performance previous Basho. In fact, the 3 previous Bashos he's done turned in Makikoshi. So he'll be on his way out. Kyokuten Ho on the left against Higonoumi in the black Mawashi. These 2 have fought 4 head-to-heads before, each has won twice. Kyokuten Ho there trying to lock in on the arm, gives up the arm, goes for the belt with his right arm. And they're hustling him out. Straight Yori Kiri. Gets the opponent rocking a bit side to side. Once he's got a bit of forward movement, then he can keep it going. And Higonoumi there driven out over the edge by Yorikiri. 5th loss for Higonoumi. Kokushuzan means early morning Hawk Mountain from Mongolia against Kinkayama Golden Sea Mountain. Yama Mountain figures in most popular name in these sumo wrestlers' shikuna or sumo names. Symbolism is fairly obvious. Big mountains, big men. So Kyokushusan there nearly got his head locked underneath. And there's a nice win for Kyokushusan. He needed that. He'd only had 1 win up to this point. That gives him his 2nd win. So Kinkayama forced over the edge with another Yorikiri by Kyokushusan. Very popular man in Mongolia. Now Oginishiki fights Akinoshima. These 2 have met a few times before, 15 to be exact. Akinoshima's won 9 of them. Of course, with these statistics, a lot depends on recent performance, and there's a spectacular throw from Oginishiki. He really dumped Akinoshima down and over the edge there with that overarm throw. That was very spectacular. Hard landing there for Akinoshima. 4th win for Oginishiki, 4th loss for Akinoshima. So there's a nice pattern to the sumo. You get frenzied action. You get the slow build-up of the rituals, and as the gets near the actual clash, the crowd focuses on the sumo and quietens down. You can feel the tension building, as it is now. Final chuck-in of salt, and then the 2 wrestlers unleash like a coiled spring and dive headlong at each other. So Kaiho here, both Nichidai ex-amateur champions. Hamanoshima from Nichidai, Kaiho from Nichidai. Nichidai is the top amateur sumo club. In fact, there are probably more Nichidai wrestlers in this top division than any other group. So there's a nice win. An overarm push-down throw from Kaiho. Gives him his third win. Very skillfully done. He's a very skillful wrestler, Kaiho. Never seems to smile. Grimaces quite a bit. He's had a bad knee injury, but seems to have recovered from it. Now, Wakanoyama, two old-timers here. Daizen, Wakanoyama here, 28 years old. Been in Makuuchi Sumo, or at least in and out of it, since '92. Daizen came into the Makuuchi in '91, so they've both got a long history. Daizen with 7 losses. If he loses this one, which he just does, that's 8 losses, and that's Makikoshi, one of the early Makikoshi scores for these wrestlers. At Maigashira 3, though, he's safe enough. Put in a good performance last Basho, where he scored 9 wins and 6 losses. So third win there for Wakanoyama. Now Kaiho, one of the front runners. He's got 7 wins so far. If he wins this one, he'll have 8 wins and get the magic Kajikoshi. Here fighting Kotoryu, who's also been doing well this tournament. Kotoryu with 6 wins and 2 losses. Kaiho's some 12 kilos heavier than Kotoryu. Couple of stone heavier. But Kaiho's certainly looking strong this time out. But as the Basho wears on, he's gradually fighting the tougher and tougher opponents. So very careful start from both wrestlers. And an even start there, nothing in it to start with. Kotoryu locks on tight, and there's an overarm throw on Kotoryu. Fired off very quickly there by Kaiho. As soon as he locked in, he span into it. So you can see he banged his head there at the opening clash. So 8 wins and Kachikoshi. So 8 wins plus gives you Kachikoshi. And third loss for Kotoryu. Next fight, Miyabayama, Elegant Mountain, against Tochi no Nara. Means the Straits of Tochi, or the Horse Chestnut Straits, Sweet Chestnut Straits. So these two have fought 5 times. Miyabayama's won the last 4 of them. So Miyabayama looking strong. Starts off with a slap, gets driven back a bit, locks onto the belt. He's about 10 kilos or so heavier than Tochi no Nara. Not a lot in it, though, in sumo terms. And there's a powerful heave with the overarm grip by Miyabayama, followed up by an overarm throw. So it's always, they work between several options when they get these grips. An overarm grip can lead to an overarm throw, or it can just simply lead to a force out or a lift up. So Miyabayama there taking his 6th win, and Tochi no Nara racking up his 6th loss. Now going into the Ozeki ranks. Let's just watch that Miyabayama one again. So Miyabayama opening up with his usual brand of rough sumo, but then gets driven back. And then that's when Tochi no Nara starts to settle in on the belt. But there, Miyabayama muscles him round. Still got his right overarm in position. And there's the change into the overarm throw from the push out. Now the eternal great seed, Chio Taikai, has been looking strong this Basho, 6 wins so far. Fight Takuto Riki. Well, these are 2 fighters. Chio Taikai has said that he admires Takuto Riki's fighting spirit. Takuto Riki is one of the real fighters here. So Chio Taikai jumping the gun, keen to get off the mark there. Takuto Riki not looking too sure of himself. Has had 6 losses so far. Compare that with the win in the tournament last time. And there's some rough slaps from Chio Taikai, but even though Chio Taikai won, Takato Riki was driving him back at that stage. So 7th loss for Takato Riki and 7th win for Chio Taikai in this Basho. It's always very close in sumo. So many things that can upset the apple cart: slippery surface, injury, sudden twist, or slackening of tension, and they can go spinning over. There's very little to grab hold of apart from the belt. So there's a pull down, back into the thrust and push. Chio Taikai almost lost it then. Takato Riki comes pushing in, but then gets sidestepped. And out he goes. Now Dejima with 3 losses so far, not doing too well. And here fighting Tochi Azuma. These two have fought 13 times in previous Bashos. Tochi Azuma's got the edge slightly, has won 7 of them. Very measured start there by Tochi Azuma, and unusually for Dejima, he tried to go sideways. Now that was a departure for Dejima. He normally comes, puts his fist down and comes straight out and forward. But there he looked to me like he was thinking of sidestepping Tochi Azuma, and he lost it. Didn't do it with enough conviction, I think. And Tochi Azuma shoved him out with the oshidashi, the push-out technique. Now Asano Waka, bouncy as ever, and fighting Takanonami. So 9 head-to-heads previously. Takanonami's won 8 of them. Asano Waka with only 2 wins this Basho, not doing very well. Takanonami with 3 losses, needs to win from now on. So a nice hard start from Asano Waka, but Takanonami containing him. This is where those long arms and his greater height will come into play. And an easy yorikiri there by the Ozeki. Takanonami forces Asano Waka over the edge of the sacred circle. So that's 9 wins now. Takanonami's had over Asano Waka. Asano Waka at Maegashira 1 dropped out of the Makuuchi division, came back in recently. Before that, he was pretty low-ranked Maegashira wrestler, and somehow seems to have crept up the top of the Maegashira ranks. Now Takanohana fights Tama Kosuga. Takanohana at 150, just under 150. Tama Kosuga the same. That's 23.5 stone each. They fought many times before. 19 precisely. Takanohana's won 15 of them. Takanohana with only 1 loss in this tournament so far. He had 11 wins in the previous one. So an uneven start there, not particularly hard, and that gives a chance for Takanohana to lock onto the belt. That's got to be bad news for Tama Kosuga. And there it is. Relentless pressure from the Grand Champion takes Tama Kosuga's heels to the edge of the circle and forces him over with yorikiri. So, Takanohana looking slightly bored there, perhaps. It's easy enough for him by the look of it. So 8 wins and kachikoshi, although that's the least of his aims, for Takanohana. And now Akebono. It's a man who's won 9 tournaments before. It's been some time since he won a tournament. It's about 13 Bashos ago he won one. That's 2 years or more, nearly 2 years, because he sat out a number of Bashos. And here fighting Tosanumi. Tosanumi, we know, will come out like a rocket. He's got one of the hardest tachi-ai starts in the business. Akebono will use his long arms to thrust to the shoulders and throat of Tosanumi, and the weight difference between them is about 70 kilos, which is 11 stone. So Akebono, 11 stone, 150 pounds heavier than Tosanumi. Here's the build-up. So how will Akebono play it? As usual. So there's the slam. Tosanumi more or less bounces off him. There's Akebono's long arms going in. Tries a pull down, followed by a push out, and sends Tosanumi into the crowd. So it's 160 kilos of wrestler, 25 stone, falling in your laps if you happen to sit next to the ring. It's all part of the excitement. Japanese like to be close to their sumo wrestlers. Would hate it if they were a long way away from the ring. Of course, it costs a lot of money to go into those seats. Very difficult to get a hold of. So that was the 8th win for Akebono. Here overpowering Tosanumi fairly convincingly. So at the end of day 9, we've got Akebono, Takanohana, Kayo and Tochinohana in the lead with 8 wins and 1 loss. And Chio Taikai and Kotonowaka with 7 wins and 2 losses. But just over the halfway mark. And 6 more bouts each for them to lift up their scores. Difficult to get consecutive wins. But one of them will do it, no doubt. So the crowd leave, but thank you for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow with days 10, 11 and 12 of the Basho. This is Sid Hoare from Tokyo. Bye for now and sayonara. Hello, irashaimase, and welcome to the last third of the Natsu Basho, the 15-day Grand Sumo Summer Tournament from Tokyo, Japan. My name is Sid Hoare. By day 10 of the Basho, we begin to see the likely winner emerge. In this Basho, the 2 Yokozuna are among the leading pack of 4, but Akebono often crumbles under pressure at the end, and Takanohana is not back at full strength and may pick up some losses in the remaining 5 days. Recently, we have either seen newcomers or veterans taking the Emperor's Cup at the end. And along with the 2 Yokozuna leaders, we have newcomer Tochinohana and veteran Kayo, both looking very strong, so it's shaping up for a lively finish. So at the start of day 10, Akebono, Takanohana, Kayo and Tochinohana in the lead with 8 wins and 1 loss apiece. And into our first bout, which is between heavyweight Shikishima and Tokitsumi. Tokitsumi at a mere 128 kilos, some 60 kilos lighter than Shikishima on the left there. Takitsumi pushing in, giving the heavier wrestler some stick there. Shikishima there, locking his arms over the top. You see he's got them hands together underneath. That's a double arm lock against Tokitsumi. And with his greater bulk, he could force him out, but there he lost that hold. Tokitsumi manages to get one of his arms out, gets the front belt, manages to turn Shikishima and drives him out with Yorikiri. So interesting bout, that one. 60 kilos difference in weight between the 2 wrestlers, but the lighter one eventually coming through. Kinoshima, in his 73rd Basho, fights Jumonji on the left there in his first Basho. So a big gap in the experience of these 2 wrestlers, almost the same weight. And they've, of course, never fought each other before, Jumonji being in his first Makuuchi Basho. So Kinoshima there, making a bit of a meal of it, locked in tight, head to shoulder. He's got his right hand on the belt there, and that gives him a chance for a front pull down. So Jumonji's got to be a bit careful. He'll either get pulled forward from that grip, or maybe Akinoshima will reverse that and shove him out. So he's going for the shove, and Jumonji forced out with Yorikiri. Jumonji came into Pro Sumo in '92, taking him 8 years to get up to this Makuuchi division. Bit of a long haul. Normally they do it a bit quicker than that. Hayate Umi, ex-amateur champion. In his second Basho, fights Kyokuten Ho. That's a nice move there by Hayate Umi. Grabs the belt over the arm and spins Kyokuten over with the overarm throw. Very neatly taken. Both those wrestlers have got similar styles. They both go for the right-sided belt grip, and in such cases it's often a battle, or the outcome of the match depends on who gets the inside arm first. Now Higonouми here against Chio Tenzan. They fought 3 times before. Chio Tenzan's won twice. Higonoumi only once, but there Higonoumi wins that one, and that gives him 5 wins so far. Now Kaiho coming up, fighting Kinkayama. Kinkayama, Gold Sea Mountain, fights Kaiho. Kaiho named after his father's fishing boat. Leads him with the head, cracks it in just under Kinkayama's chin, then keeps the sumo open, not going for the belt yet. As I say it, he grabs the belt. The action's very fast and furious here, keeps Kinkayama on the move. Kinkayama hovering on the brink there, trying an overarm throw to one side. But Kaiho then gets his knee behind Kinkayama's leg. Kirikaishi position with the leg there. And that's enough to upset Kinkayama's balance and then force him over the edge. So Yorikiri win there for Kaiho against Kinkayama, who's been in and out of the Makuuchi division over the years. This is his 3rd time in it. Tamakasuga now against Takanowaka. Takanowaka only turned in a 5-win performance last time, but already by day 10 of this Basho, he's got 5 wins, so should do better. Going hard and fast there, driving in to Tamakasuga's upper body, but then Tamakasuga locks in. He's got the Morozashi grip. That's 2 arms under his opponent's armpit and round the back. Can be very strong, this one. It enables the wrestler to float the other one up. Well, there's a bit of judo. Of course, there's the same technique in sumo, but Takanowaka trying a desperate move. It's always a danger if you lift one leg up, you'll get spun over. You need your balance firmly on the ground. So Takanowaka now, he's got both arms locked underneath. That's the Kimedashi position. And he'll try and bend Tamakasuga's elbows in together. But he's not trying too hard on this one. He's got his arms over, but he's not pushing in that hard against Tamakasuga's arms. He needs to lock them a bit, cause him a bit of grief. And then Ai loses it then. Heads clash on that one in the mix-up. So it's a very lively bout. Tamakasuga fighting all the way against this young newcomer. There's a pull down, and finally, well, I think Takanowaka ran out of steam a bit on that one, but that was a good long bout. Bearing in mind that the average length of these bouts is about 8 or 9 seconds. That was well over the average. So 5th win there for Tamakasuga and 5th loss for Takanowaka. It's the Sumo Stadium, Kokugikan, the Hall of the National Sport. That's what that translates as. It's not only used for sumo, used for other things as well, but it's basically owned by the Sumo Association. Now, Kyokushuzan fights Daizen. These two have never fought before, despite the fact that they've both been around a long time. The referee there, gesturing with his fist, he's saying, put your fist down to the ground, both of them. Well, that was a quick start by Kyokushuzan. Well, I think Kyokushuzan really hasn't made up his mind about what sort of sumo he wants to do. He hovers between Mongolian sumo and Japanese sumo. Somehow he hasn't been doing too well recently. He lost that one. That gives him 8 losses. Makikoshi. And the 2nd win for Daizen, who's struggling a bit. Now, Hamanoshima. The island of Hama fights Oginishiki. Oginishiki, who suffered many injuries in his long career. Had a brief spell in Juryo 2 or 3 Bashos ago. There's a good win there. Oginishiki, one-way street for Hamanoshima, backwards and out from the belt grip of Oginishiki. Yorikiri win. That's the top scoring technique in sumo by Oginishiki. Now this next one could be interesting. Kaiho here, who seems to be on a bit of a roll. He's looking very strong. Fighting Takatoriki, the man who won the tournament last time. Kaiho at 172 pounds, 172 kilos, excuse me, which is a bit heavier than the pounds. Fights Takatoriki at a mere 145. 145 just under the average weight. Takatoriki leads with a head, and there's some power there from Kaio. Didn't give the winner of the last Basho much of a chance. Well, certainly Kaio is looking amazingly strong. He's noted for his very strong arms, but he's had a very average performance in the last year or two. For 6 years, he was a potential Ozeki candidate, never quite made it. So there takes his head to one side at the tachiai to avoid Takatoriki's head. But then a few determined thrusts from Kaio send Takatoriki over the edge. Should be interesting. Tosanumi at 163 kilos, a bit lighter than Miyabiyama at 177, but Tosanumi comes out hard and fast from the tachiai. Miyabiyama, though, has got a good line in rough thrusts to the face and head, and both heads crack in there. Tosanumi not gaining any particular advantage, and there's that rough style of Miyabiyama's. Powers Tosanumi out of the ring. And that gives Miyabiyama his 7th win against 3 losses, and the 5th loss for Tosanumi. Well, there was predictions when Miyabiyama came into Pro Sumo that once he ran up against the top men, he'd run out of steam, but he certainly hasn't done that. Goes from strength to strength, turns in since he came into Pro Sumo, Makuuchi Sumo that is. Consistent string of results. And a good result this time, although he's had 3 losses so far. If he can keep around that mark, should stand a good chance of being promoted to Ozeki. So there Tosanumi going out from Miyabiyama's determined thrusts. Tochiazuma, 147 kilos, small really, but Sekiwaki rank. I guess he could do with a bit more weight, say around the 160 mark. Fighting here, Tochi no Nada on the left. They've had 7 head-to-heads, of which Tochiazuma's won 5 of them. Although Tochiazuma's small, he's skillful. He's got a lot of experience and a lot of energy. Tochi no Nada getting straight arms out of the dohyo with oshirashi. Well, Tochiazuma so far in this Basho has beaten 1 Yokozuna and 3 Ozekis, so that's a good, an excellent record for this small fighter. Now 2 Ozekis against each other. Takanonami from the Futagoyama stable and Chio Taikai. The Karate Kid. Well, he did karate a long time ago. Now he's took to sumo because he asked somebody what was the toughest martial art, and somebody said sumo, so he switched for that reason. But he's certainly doing well, driving in against Takanonami. And that shows what Ozeki should be like. Takanonami, we know, is on the slide. If he gets a bad result this time, he'll drop down yet again from that Ozeki position. And there you see the difference between a real Ozeki and a fading Ozeki. So all human life is in the Basho, as they say. Wrestlers grow stronger, start winning, and others fade away. It's a cruel system. Once they lose, they're out. Down the rankings, money goes, fame goes. Such is life in Japan. So there, Chio Taikai winning. And that was his 8th win and Kachikoshi. Kotoryu versus Dejima. These two have fought 4 times previously. Dejima's won 3 of them. Dejima, when he first came into Pro Sumo, never led with his head. He kept his head out the way. That's one of the first things his Oyakada, his stable boss, taught him to do, was to lead with a head. Yeah, Dejima overwhelming Kotoryu, slipped his arm under and through Kotoryu's armpit and spun him over at the end there with Sukuinagi. So 6 wins so far for Dejima against 4 losses, not doing that well. Now Asanowaka, very deep crouch there, put his hands to the ground and leant forward. That was the last but one. Shikiri crouch down. These two have fought 4 times. Akibono's won all 4 of them. Akibono's got something like 40% body fat. That's 92 kilos of him. much heavier than the average man, is pure fat, but he's also very strong as well. So Asanowaka with 7 losses. If he loses this one, that'll give him 8 losses. And Maki Koshi, well, a lot of hustle and bustle there from Asanowaka, but Akebono handled him very easily, I thought. So Akebono, one of the leading pack of 4, with now 9 wins and 1 loss. So a Yorikiri win there from big Akebono. Let's watch that one again. You can see Asanowaka making no impression on the massive bulk of Akebono whatsoever. And Akebono just moving forward at a leisurely pace to take him over the edge. Now the remaining Grand Champion, Takanohana. He's also got 8 wins and 1 loss. He needs this win to stay up with Akebono. And here fighting Wakanoyama. They've only ever fought once before. Wakanoyama's went quickly up the Maegashira ranks. At the top of the Maegashira ranks, of course, he'll run up against the Yokozuna. And he's about 20 kilos. Wakanoyama is heavier than Takanohana. Takanohana, I think, will get his hand on the belt. There it is. The right hand. And then he'll just nudge him over the edge with Yorikiri. And that's exactly what he did. So, of course, with all the injuries we get in sumo, it does throw these Banzuke ranking lists out of kilter a bit. It means that some of the weaker wrestlers have to move up, as it were, and fight the stronger ones. So Wakanoyama there bouncing off Takanohana. So at the end of day 10, the lead hasn't changed much. We've got Akebono, Takanohana, Kaio, and Tochinohana in the lead with 9 wins and 1 loss apiece. Chiyotakai 1 step behind with 8 wins and 2, and Miyabayama with 7 wins and 3 losses. Stay with us, we'll be back after the break with more sumo. Hello and welcome back to day 11 of the Basho. 4 in the lead, Akebono, Takanohana, Kaio and Tochinohana. The wrestlers leading out from their ring entering ceremony. The wrestlers as a whole just donated $2 million to the people in Hokkaido that were suffering from the big volcanic eruption there. They do lots of good works as well as fighting in the sacred circle. So let's go into our first bout of day 11. It's between Hayate-umi and Tokitsu-umi. They fought once before, and Tokitsu-umi on the right there won that particular bout. Well, Hayate-umi there trying a jump to the side. Didn't look too convincing. He's a fisherman's son. Those were the 2 traditional types of family that used to provide sumo wrestlers. They were either farmer or fisherman's sons, meant to be tough and with good balance. Anyway, I digress a bit. That 7th win from Hayate-umi over Tokitsu-umi. Now, Kotonowako has been doing rather well this tournament, sat out the last one. He's got 7 wins so far, here fighting Akinoshima. Kotonowako tries a change there at the tachi-ai, goes to one side, but Akinoshima not fooled by that, locks on tight. He's got that front belt, there's the pull down. But that's something we anticipated him doing before from that hold. We didn't see him do it, he went straight into a push out, but there you see from that front hold on the belt, he just pulls down, and that was enough to tip Kotonowaka forward and then off balance and then out the ring. Now newcomer Takanowaka, got 5 wins so far here against Chio Tenzan on the right. Bit of a hard bang against Chio Tenzan's head there, but Chio Tenzan recovers the initiative and locks in tight. Takanowaka though got the stronger belt grip, and that's enough to spin Chio Tenzan over with the overarm throw, the Owate Nagi. So 6th win for Takanowaka, which takes him past his previous Basho best, which was for only 5 wins. The Basho before that, he had 10 wins, and that pushed him up the Maegashira rankings a bit. So should do, certainly will do much better than that, this Basho. So there we see a rough bout to start with, bit of head slapping, and then they settle down onto the belt. But it's Takanawaka who's got the best hold, and there's that overarm grip, and Chio Tenzan touches down a tad before him. Kyokutenho, if his Oyakata's not at the Basho, he has to phone in, especially if he loses. Lives in fear of his Oyakata, apparently. Here against Aogiyama. These two have fought twice before, and each has won once, but it looked to me like Kyokutenho touched down first there. Aogiyama floated in the air a bit as he went out. So yes, Aogiyama gets the referee's nod, and that was his 6th win. Kinkayama of the Dewanoumi stable. He's got 8 losses already. That's his Makikoshi. And here fighting Daizen, who's also got Makikoshi. Well, that was good. So the wrestlers looking round, wondering who stepped out first. Yep, it was Daizen put his hand down. And I don't know if you notice a big crack in the dohyo there. I think that was before those two hit it, but sometimes the dohyo does crumble under the weight of these wrestlers. Tamakasuga, 150 kilos, fights Hamanoshima, some 30 kilos lighter than him. That's just under 5 stone lighter. There's a referee in the background chanting Nakata, Nakata, Nakata. That means you're still in, you're still in. It's to encourage the wrestlers to fight. If they slow down and don't move, they'll chuck in a Hakkeyoi as well, which is also to encourage the wrestlers. So now they lock in on the belt. No, they lose the belt. Then it's open sumo again. Both wrestlers trying to get a decisive position on the body. There's not much to grab above the belt or below the belt if it comes to that. So it's quite tricky controlling the other wrestler. That's an unusual move there. Try to spin his arms over. So these two have fought 6 times previously. Each has won 3 times. So it's very evenly matched. Although Hamanoshima is lighter. Well, that was a nice push into a pull. So a thrust under the throat of Hamanoshima's suddenly relaxed, and Hamanoshima fell into it, fell forward off that. 9 losses for Hamanoshima and 6 wins for Tamakasuga. A few empty seats in the balcony above, the more expensive seats lower down. It's Kaio coming on. Well, he stopped shaving. It's a sign he wants to keep his luck going. And Kaio will be facing the newcomer Tochinohana, so this should sort them out. They're 2 of the 4 leaders, so one of them will have to drop down. There's no draws in sumo. Now here we have Wakanoyama against Kaiho. Kaiho, otherwise known as Kuma, Japanese for bear. So Kaiho comes out against a much heavier wrestler. Lots of slaps, pushes, pulls, steps to the side. Wakanoyama getting the belt there, and that's a straight pull down into the clay and the sand. Kaiho biting the dust, literally. And 4th win for Wakanoyama and 7th loss for Kaiho. Now Tochinohana fights Tosunoumi. Tosunoumi 5 wins so far. Tochinohana with only 3 and 7 losses. Another loss here for Tochinohana will give him Makikoshi and a little slide down the rankings, providing he doesn't do very much worse from now on. So Tosunoumi wins that one. A Yorikiri force out from Tosunoumi. Looks heavier than Tochinohana, but in fact they're both about the same weight, 165 kilos or so, 26 stone. And now, well, next one's going to be interesting. Tochinohana against Kaio. Well, Tochinohana with 9 wins, Kaio also with 9 wins. Tochinohana, who's just come up from Juryo. It's 149 kilos, good respectable weight. Not too much fat on him, a lot of muscle. See the muscles in the shoulders there. Came into pro sumo in '95. Although he did sumo at university, he didn't take the traditional route from the ex-amateur champions. He started at the bottom of the sumo ladder like the young teenagers that come into sumo. So his sumo is slightly different to these amateur champions. Also, they say he's learned his craft from the bottom. So they never met before, these two. So there was a neat move from Kaio there. He just wrapped around that arm of Tochinohana's and spun him over effortlessly. Well, that's a very wicked move, that wraparound arm throw, because if you resist too much, the arm breaks. And Kaio throws all of his 170 kilos into that arm lock. So Tochinohana perhaps there decided to go over rather than risk his arm. Let's watch that in slow motion. So there you see two arms, look at that, straight on the arm. There's not much Tochinohana could do about that one. If he'd resisted, he would have hurt his arm badly. Let's watch it from the other angle. Look, two arms there on the back of the elbow, and then a spin over. So that drops Tochinohana down, gives him 2 losses now. Moves back from the winning pack, and Kaio up there with 10 wins and 1 loss. Kaio's certainly looking powerful. Best he's ever done in a tournament is 12 wins. So that was his 10th win. So he's getting close to his record. Now, Takato Riki, only 2 wins so far against little Tochiazuma. They're both about the same weight. I say little, but look at that. Well, one thing about Tochiazuma, he's a real technician. He knows his sumo backwards. He started off as a boy in his father's stable. He's been brought up in the dojo from an early age, and that was, he read Takato Riki perfectly. So 8 wins there for Tochiazuma. That's already up with his previous Basho number of wins. And now Miyabayama chucks a miserly handful of salt down. Asanowaka, of course, we know has changed his salt throwing routine. Asanowaka, cheerful soul. He's good at the tachiai, but he does a very straight one there. It didn't do him much good. He just came straight out, and Miyabayama pushed him straight back. Asanowaka normally has got a lot of tricky moves on that tachiai. Difficult to predict, but that one was about as predictable as you can get. Well, Miyabayama there with 8 wins and 3 losses. Still doing well if he can hold that number of losses. Now Dejima with 4 losses. Well, he's not doing so well. He's behind Chio Taikai, the other Ozeki, although he's got the same results as Takanonami, who is fighting here. These two have fought 14 times previously. Dejima's won 8 of them, and that makes 9. Well, it looked as if Takanonami was about to recover that, but then he lost his balance. Dejima did his typical style of sumo, straight out, feet moving fast, wrapped his arms round, and then drove the tall Ozeki out of the ring with Yorikiri. Oh, Yori Taoshi, according to the announcer. The referees take it in turns to do the announcement of the winning technique. If it's very obvious, the ordinary announcer calls the technique, but if there's some doubt, then they have a gyoji there to name it. So sometimes they get it wrong. Now, Chio Taikai. Well, he's got 8 wins and 2 losses, certainly doing better than Dejima. Won the tournament in '99, the Hatsubasho, the first tournament of '99. Seems a long time ago now. Here fighting Ogonishiki, they fought 3 times. Chio Taikai has won 2 of them. Slowish start there from Chio Taikai, tries to pull him down, and then opens up with his hallmark, his thrusts to the face and throat. Strange he didn't come out with that. So certainly Chio Taikai is experimenting a bit with the moves at the beginning. I know that his Oyakata, that's the great Chiyonofuji, doesn't like that too much. They like the sumo guys just to come straight out and smash the other one out the ring, but Shio Taikai does experiment. Now Kyoku Shuzan against Takanohana. These two have fought 9 times. And no guesses. Takanohana's won 9 of them. So Takanohana, among the leaders, needs this to stay up with Kaio. Got 9 wins and 1 loss. Kyoku Shuzan, almost the reverse, 2 wins and 8 losses. The Kyoku Shuzan not looking at all good. Should, in the past, have been relied on to do something really tricky, but now does some pretty orthodox, and some say boring sumo. So Takanohana there gets his hands on. That's got to be the end. Well, there's some arm locks. Well, that was an interesting move there. There's a leg behind the back of Kyoku Shuzan, a kirikaishi position. And that dumped Kyoku Shuzan out, convincingly enough. 10 wins now for Takanohana. And only 1 loss. So there's a bit of a wrist lock, arm lock at the beginning there. Attempt from Kyoku Shuzan, and Takanohana had to pull his arm out a bit quickly. Then he followed it up by putting his leg behind Kyoku Shuzan, and that was enough. So let's watch that. See if we can, once Takanohana gets his hand in there, Kyoku Shuzan trying to deny him that hold now, then he starts to pull up. There he joins his hands together. No, not yet. There it is, joins his hands together, starts to go up against Takanohana's elbow. Takanohana struggles there, has to get it out. Then he follows up with that hook behind the leg, and that's enough to unsettle Kyoku Shuzan. And out he goes. Now the other grand champion, Akebono. 506 pounds of him, fighting Koto Ryu, some 80 kilos lighter, some 12.5 stone lighter. These two have only fought previously 4 times. Akebono's won all 4. Koto Ryu with a pretty, not such a good performance. His last Basho only won 5, the one before that only won 6 bouts. So he's not exactly on a winning streak. So leads with a head, bounces off Akebono. Akebono moving forward. That's the way it should be. Lock on and move forward. And 10th win there for Akebono. So still among the leaders, Kaio and Takanohana. Well, obviously Akebono there must warm up quite a bit before he comes into the ring. Those few seconds not enough to make him sweat that much, I would have thought. His average length of his bout is about 5 seconds. So let's watch that one again. So one-way street here for Koto Ryu. So at the end of day 11, we've got Akebono, Takanohana and Kaio in the lead with 10 wins and 1 loss. Shio Taikai and Tochinohana with 9 wins and 2 losses. And Miyabayama with 8 wins and 3 losses. But stay with us, we'll be back after the break with day 12. Hello and welcome back to day 12 of the Natsu Basho. Well, here's the man who's looking good. It's Kaio. He's powering through, one of 3 leaders, along with Akebono and Takanohana, both grand champions, of course. But something different about Kaio there. He's looking confident, his face looks clear, and he's looking very powerful. So let's get to the action on day 12. Pick up our first bout, which is between Takanohana and Aogiyama. Aogiyama, the lowest win rate in the Makuuchi division. Sat out the last Basho. One before that only had 4 wins due to injuries. But the top win rates are around the 7 out of 10 mark, and Aogiyama would be around the 5 out of 10 mark. So there, Aogiyama winning against Takanohana. That gives him his 7th win. He's doing all right so far. Just one short of Kachikoshi. And that was the 6th loss for Takanohana. Now, Toki in the orange Mawashi fighting Akinoshima here in the black Mawashi. Toki comes from a sumo family. His father was a Jonidan wrestler. That's only the 2nd division up, so not so strong, but obviously he impressed his son, inspired his son to get into sumo. So Toki here in the top division, but losing against veteran Akinoshima. Toki came in a pro sumo in, Makuuchi sumo in 98. And Akinoshima was there 10 years before that in 88. So 8 wins and Kachikoshi for Akinoshima. Now, Tenho fights Jumonji. Now, Jumonji's got 7 losses. If he loses this one, he'll almost certainly go back down into the Juryo division. Jumonji with the blue Mawashi, Kyoku Tenho, or Tenho as he's known in the sumo world, with the purpley colour Mawashi. So Tenho there, squashing Jumonji down. Well, that's Jumonji in and out of the Makuuchi division. Such is life. Some move up and stay there for a long time. Others are in and out. Now, Hayate Yumi against Chio Tenzan. Well, these two have never fought before. In fact, there's quite a few bouts this last couple of days where they've never fought each other before. So Hayate Yumi there trying a big jump up in the air, and that was a spectacular throw. So he jumps up at the beginning, a bit like Mainawumi and Kyokushuuzan do sometimes. Didn't go that high. And then very quickly followed up with the arm round Chio Tenzan's waist and flattened him down. So let's watch this one again. It was a good one. There's the jump. Well, not such a jump, really. Jumps to the side. Then he gets the arm in. And then look at that. Chio Tenzan. Chest scrapes the rough surface of the dohyo. Now Tamakasuga from the Kato Nami stable fights Tokitsumi here from the Tokitsukaze stable. So Tokitsumi's strong when he gets his arm on the inside and on the belt, but he hasn't got it yet. He's got the overarm grip there with his left. But what's his right arm doing? Yeah, I think he's got it in there. Now he's strong, although he's got his head locked off. Tamakasuga's got that head locked in under. Well, that's an unusual one. Occasionally see that. It would seem that once you've got your head underneath there that you're in a very disadvantageous position, but I've seen some wrestlers who get stuck under there, who hang on. It can be quite difficult to dislodge them in that position. So Tamakasuga winning, 7th win and 7th loss for Tokitsumi. Kyokushuuzan, he's got 7 losses. Sorry, he's got 9 losses, already got Makikoshi. Wakanoyama here's got 7 losses. If he gets a loss, that will be Makikoshi for him as well. So a bit of running around the ring. A few desperate measures there, grabbing at each other's arms. Wakanoyama trying the overarm throw there. There you see, good shot of that overarm position. Kyokushuuzan trying a bit of judo there. Kosoda Gake. Although, strictly speaking, judo came later than sumo, so probably sumo takes precedence, really, when it comes to naming of throws. So Kyokushuuzan winning there with Suso Harai, which means Suso Harai, sweep, foot sweep. More of a hook, really. And that's 3 wins for Kyokushuuzan, 8 losses for Wakanoyama and Makikoshi. Now the 2 wrestlers get ready, wipe themselves with the paper that's provided, the Chikaragami power paper, rinse their mouth with the power water, Chikaramizu, and then they come out for the final crouch down. Daizen against Tochi no Nara. Quick run there, Tochi no Nara winning with Yorikiri, straight from the Tachiai. So that's 4 wins for Tochi no Nara. He's already got Makikoshi, and the 10th loss for Daizen. Daizen also from a sumo family. His father got as far as the Sandame division. That's 3 up from the bottom. Now Asano Waka. His original sumo name was Waka Arashi. That's young Storm here fighting Hamanoshima on the left with a purple Mawashi. Very careful start by Hamanoshima. I think he anticipated some changes at the start from Asano Waka, but straightforward sumo. It's a great favourite in Japan is Asano Waka, lively, bouncy character. And as you can see the crowd there giving him a good hand. So that's a 3rd win for Asano Waka. Not doing too well this performance. Now Kaio. Kaio's already got 10 wins, but he's virtually fought all the strong ones so far. He's fought Dejima, Chio Taikai, Miyabiyama, Akibono, Takanohana and Takanonami. So he's got to be the favourite to take this Basho. Of course, many an upset in sumo. Feet can skid on the slippery surface, but he's only got weaker ones from now on, and this is Oginishiki, much lighter, some 40 kilos lighter. That's about 6 stone lighter, and these two have fought 7 times, and Kaio's taken 5 of those. So Kaio not too fast off the tachi-ai, but Oginishiki looks though he gave up there. Well, I'm sure he didn't, but Kaio's certainly looking very strong these days. Kaio unusually, in one of his interviews, said that he's been working with a trainer on his weak parts of his body. And they don't often do that in sumo. They just do the traditional training, which is leg stamps and hitting the wooden pillar, and lots of sumo, of course. But he's departing a bit from that tradition, and it seems to be paying off. Now, Tosanumi against Takatoriki. These two have fought many times, 19, and Takatoriki's won 11 of them. Takatoriki leads with a head, but Tosanumi overwhelms him, about 20 kilos heavier, but it's that hard tachi-ai that he's famous for that it's a bit difficult for these slappers to resist a really determined tachi-ai. They just, somebody as big as Tosanumi and as fast comes out like a dump truck, and you can slap the dump truck, but it still manages to shove you out the ring. So Tosanumi winning that one, his 7th win, and 10th loss for Takatoriki. Such a contrast from his previous Basho where he won it 13-2. Now Kotoryu against Tochi Azuma. These two have only fought 4 times, each has won twice. Very careful start there. Kotoryu didn't put his hands down. Tochi Azuma misread it. Hands down, says the ref. See if they'll do it this time. Very cagey start. And wrestlers. Well, that was interesting. Another skillful win there by Tochi Azuma. They didn't close in on the belt, and they didn't even go for the slaps. They were just locked in, hands on shoulders, heads on shoulders. And then a quick pull down from Tochi Azuma when he felt Kotoryu's balance coming too far forward was enough to drop him down to the clay surface of the dohyo. Now, Chio Taikai against newcomer Tochi no Hana. Now, this is going to be interesting. Tochi no Hana we saw take a loss against Kaio, where he nearly had his arm broken. Now here he's fighting Chio Taikai, who'll probably try and headbutt him straight out the ring. Both wrestlers with the same score, 9 wins and 2 losses apiece. And this is the first time for a new Makuuchi wrestler, a wrestler who's only just come into the Makuuchi division, to fight an Ozeki. It very rarely happens. About 20 or more years ago this last happened. Tochi no Hana, 9 wins and 2 losses, certainly on a roll. 149 kilos, he's about 10 kilos lighter than Chio Taikai. 22 pounds, stone and a half or so difference. So in fact, Tochi no Hana looks as though he led with the head there. Chio Taikai trying to thrust into Tochi no Hana, loses it almost. Tochi no Hana coming back, Chio Taikai marginally ahead on the thrusts, but Tochi no Hana drives him out, gets him on a run, and there's a last-ditch attempt by Chio Taikai to spin Tochi no Hana out, but it looked to me like Tochi no Hana got it. So that's the first time a new Makuuchi wrestler in his first Basho has defeated an Ozeki since 1978. 22 years ago that last happened. And that's 10 wins and 2 losses now for this newcomer. So brilliant performance there from Tochi no Hana from the Kasuga stable. Let's watch this one. There was a lot of action in this bout. So dropping of heads at the end there. Not a straight head-to-head clash, but pretty close to it. Chio Taikai not really getting into his stride with his thrust. You see his feet are hardly moving. Almost gets sidestep there. Comes in again, gets into his stride a bit more now, misses a bit though, almost turns Tochi no Hana. Few more thrusts to the throat, but then he goes backwards. He takes that fatal step backwards, and that's enough for Tochi no Hana to take advantage of that backwards movement and drive in. And now went Chio Taikai with a last-ditch attempt to spin Tochi no Hana over first before he touched down. I've seen some good sumo today. Exciting stuff. So Takanohana, Miyabiyama getting ready for their bout at the end. Now we have, coming up next, Dejima and Kaiho. Well, Dejima's 164 kilos, that's 26 stone. Kaiho's 125, it's about 19 stone. So it's quite a difference of weight between the two. Dejima will come out like a train on tracks. Kaiho will try and sidestep, no doubt. But there you see the train winning. So a straightforward Dayashi there, that's the forward movement of the feet that Dejima is very good at. Shuffling, very fast shuffling movement across the ring. Overwhelms Kaiho and forces him out and down with Yori Tawashi. Well, we use a lot of Japanese in these programs. Could use a lot more, of course. But if any of you think we use too much Japanese, email in to Eurosport, tell us what you think. So here, Akibono against Takanonami. So these two have fought 35 times and Akibono's won 13 of them, almost lost it there, almost got sidestepped. Well, Takanonami's not doing that well, that was his 6th loss there. Slightly shaky moments there for Akibono. We know he's vulnerable to those sidestepping movements. Puts his 2 hands to the chest of his opponent and thrusts, but if the chest is not there, his huge weight can go staggering forward. But pretty much in control there, that keeps him amongst the leaders with 11 wins and only 1 loss. It's been a while since he last won a Basho, over 2 years ago. So let's watch this one again. So 2 hands as always, straight out into the throat of Takanonami. There, almost loses it there. Takanonami running around the circle and trying to move out of the direct line of Akibono's thrusts. And then, but there loses it. Good strong thrust from Akibono sends him over the edge. So that was the 6th loss, as I say, for Takanonami. And getting perilously close to Makikoshi and emotion. Right. Well, another newcomer, Miyabiyama. Certainly a clutch of these new young wrestlers coming through. Tochinohana, Miyabiyama, Takanowaka. Some exciting youngsters here. Here, Miyabiyama against Takanohana. They've fought each other, 4 head-to-heads previously. Takanohana's won all 4. Miyabiyama some 30 kilos heavier. He's no respecter of rank, but Takanohana there got the arm. And there's the touch of the masterclass. Takanohana got that overhand grip very early on, locked onto the belt, and then just weathered Miyabiyama's rough storm, and then just spun him over with Watenagi. Well, that was, that looked apparently easy. Takanohana looking pleased with himself there, with that throw. Extremely powerful. Takanohana's lost some weight, but he hasn't lost any power. So let's watch this one again. So the usual skirmishing at the start, then it's hands-on, and then a bit of pushing, hands-on again, then he runs, then he spins him over with that overarm throw. So at the end of day 12, 3 in the lead, Akibono, Takanohana and Kaiho with 11 wins and 1 loss. 1 step behind Tochinohana with 10 wins and 2 losses. Then Chiyotakai and Tochiazuma with 9 wins and 3 losses. So still 3 more matches each. Anything could happen. Hello, irashaimase, and welcome to the last 3 days of the Natsu Basho, the Summer Grand Sumo Tournament from Tokyo, Japan. My name's Sid Hoare. 3 of the big names out of the Basho, Musashi Maru and Musoyama to injury, and Wakanohana retiring. A familiar pattern presents itself again when we have, in addition to the 2 Yokozuna, 1 newcomer, Tochinohana, and 1 long dormant veteran, all in the leading pack of rikishis, aiming for the Emperor's Cup. On past and recent form, it will be either the veteran, Kaiho, or perhaps newcomer Tochinohana who will win the Basho. But let's see if either of the Yokozuna can regain that cup. It's been a long while since they've held it in their hands. popular rikishi, such as Terao and Takanonami, are trembling on the brink of demotion, and Takuto Riki, after his amazing form last time, is back to his old losing form. So at this start of day 13, we have Akibono, Takanohana and Kaio with 11 wins and 1 loss, and a step behind Tochinohana with 10 wins and 2 loss, and a step behind him Chiyotai Kai and Tochi Azuma with 9 wins and 3 losses. All of those 6, in theory, could come through and win the Basho. So let's get into our first bout of day 13, and it's between Jumonji, newcomer. This is his first Basho, fighting Tokitsu-umi. Jumonji injured his big toe about 5 bouts ago on day 8. You can see that right leg of his in a little sock there. It's affected his form. Win there after a run of losses from day 8. That only gives him 5 wins so far, and that's 8 losses for Tokitsu-umi and Maki Koshi. Straight into the next bout between Shikishima and Takanowaka. Takanowaka's got 6 wins so far. Shikishima's only got 5, neither doing particularly well. Shikishima only turned in 4 wins the previous Basho. He's much the heavier of the 2 here, but there you see Takanowaka thrusting his stomach forward. That's the Gaburi rocking motion when they lock in on the Yorikiri move, and that was enough to rock Shikishima over the edge of the dohyo. Aogiyama now faces Chio Tenzan. These 2 have met twice before. Aogiyama's won both of them. Aogiyama, good on the throat, leads with the head there, then goes for the throat. That's what he's good at. So from the throat thrust, he'll go for a push down, but lost it there. Was going backwards, was trying to pull Chio Tenzan down, but then was going backwards too fast, and Chio Tenzan helped him on his way. So 5th win there for Chio Tenzan, who's already turned in 8 losses, so slide him down the rankings a bit. Kyokutenho, Mongolian, only 5 wins so far in this Basho. Fights Kotonowaka, who's doing reasonably well, back from injury. You see his left leg there all taped up. Set out the last Basho due to that injury, but he's here got 8 wins already. That's Kachikoshi. And a few more bouts to go. So a very deep hold there by Kotonowaka. Very right the way round and in deep, both hands almost touching the knot at the back of the mawashi. And Kyokutenho's only got 1 layer of Kotonowaka's belt, so it's not a good leverage position. You can see him trying to lift there, but of course the belt was riding up too high, so Kotonowaka wins that one. 9th win for the veteran. 32 years old and back from injury and looking quite good. Another veteran now, Akinoshima. Been in this top Makuuchi sumo since '88, 12 years of it. It's a lot of tournaments, a lot of bouts here, fighting Koto Ryu, who's only been in this division 4 years. So Akinoshima not leading with the head there. He normally comes out like a rocket and drives the head forward. And either the other wrestler has to bang heads or get out the way. It's like a game of chicken, really. So Akinoshima, 8 wins so far. Koto Ryu with 6 wins. Akinoshima there, locking in with both hands, looks powerful. He's floated Koto Ryu's arms up there. See from behind, Koto Ryu's arms not in a position to do very much, and that's 9th win for Akinoshima. Certainly reversed the trend of his 2 previous Bashos, where he only had 7 wins and then 5 wins in the one before this. Now, Mongolian Kyokushuzan, his form's been so bad recently, he's got the lowest win rate in the Makuuchi division. And here fighting Asano Sho. Now, Asano Sho's winning that one, though that was his 2nd win. And it was the 10th loss for Kyokushuzan. Neither of these 2 doing very well. So, Asano Sho with 2 wins now and 11 losses, but his last 3 Basho, he's had Maki Koshi. That's fewer wins and losses. So he's almost certainly going to drop down into the Judo division, the one below the one we look at, the Makuuchi division. 6 divisions in all, Makuuchi at the top, Judo below that, Makushita below that, then Sandame, then Jonidan, then Jonokuchi. Jonokuchi at the bottom. Oginishiki fights Kaiho. These two have fought 4 times in previous Bashos. Kaiho's won 3 of them. He's got a good arm through under the armpit there. Kaiho on the left. Looked like he was going to go for Skuinagi's throw, but Oginishi recovered a bit. And that was a good push out there by Kaiho. He's a real worker, is Kaiho. He's ex-amateur champion. He's a small wrestler, only 124 kilos, but he's been in this Makuuchi division now a couple of years and hanging on in there despite his size. Asanowaka, salt throwing fame, on against Daizen. Daizen first came into the Makuuchi division in '91. Asanowaka some 3 years after that in '94. Typical Asanowaka there. Came out from the tachi-ai, banged his head into Daizen's chest and then spun him around and pushed him out. A very neat move. This is Tokui, his speciality, always at the very start of the bout. So 4 wins there for Asanowaka and 11 losses for Daizen. This is the man of the moment, Kaiho, coming out, looking very strong, this Basho. Looks like he's been on some heavy weights, apart from pushing heavy sumo guys around, of course. So next bout is Tochino Nada. Only 4 wins so far. He's got that left arm of his still giving him problems. And Wakanoyama's only got 4 wins. So both of these with 8 losses apiece are into demotion territory, or at least down the ranks a bit. And Tochino Nada there gets the dominant grip early on in that clash. And Wakanoyama panicking a bit there, trying to get his arms in a decent position, but Tochino Nada drives him out with Yorikiri. Hamanoshima from the Mihogaseki stable, doing pretty badly this time. 2 wins so far. Well, he's at Maigasha a 2 ranking, so he's safe enough in the Makuuchi division. Takato Riki, unbelievably, was the man who won the tournament last time. Well, he's only won 2 bouts this time, but that's a pattern we've seen before. Kotonishiki did much the same when he won the tournament. That was beautifully judged move there. Hamanoshima knew that Takato Riki would charge out. Well, they always do, but he knew it would be a straight charge, and he just jumped and slapped him down with Hikiotoshi. So much needed 3rd win there for Hamanoshima, and 11th loss for Takato Riki. Now, this is Kaiho. He's never won more than 12 wins in Makuuchi Sumo before. He's got 11 wins at this moment. If he can win this one, he'll equal his previous record. But he's certainly looking powerful and he's looking confident here against Tosanori Umi, who he's fought 20 times before. And he's beaten him 14 times. So the money's got to be on Kaiho. And that was a hard start and a slap. So you can see him blinking off that headbutt to his face, caught him just about on the eyebrows there. That's par for the course. So 12 wins, equaling his previous win record, and Tosanori Umi taking his 6th loss for this Basho. Kaiho is certainly looking strong there. Let's watch that one again. Let's watch the headbutt. Careful start from Kaiho. In goes Tosanori Umi's head, straight to Kaiho's face. So there you see it again. You saw Kaiho's head come back from that butt. You can't actually butt as such, but they lead with the head, and if there's a face in the way, well, that's tough. 12th win for Kaiho, looking strong. Takanohana coming down the Hanamichi, getting ready for his bout. He'll be fighting Chio Taikai. So, up to the present moment, Miyabayama fights Tochi Azuma. They've had 6 head-to-heads previously. Miyabayama's won 4 of them, including the last 3. So Tochi Azuma has turned in 2 8-7 performances in previous Basho. Not too brilliant, but he's a seasoned campaigner. There go the heads, the 2 crack heads to start off with. Tochi Azuma almost turning Miyabayama around. Moves away from the open sumo, there's a grip change, goes on the inside, always a dangerous move, but he pulls it off easily. Tochi Azuma trying to lift Miyabayama up, but Gets his back turned to the edge and then gets nudged over by Miyabiyama. But it certainly, for the opening seconds of that match, it looked like it was Tochi Azuma's bout there. But Miyabiyama there, 9 wins and 4 losses. Well, Miyabiyama is looking for promotion to Ozeki this tournament. Can't afford to lose any more. He's got 4 losses. If he notches up another one, I doubt that he'll get promoted, but could end up with 11 wins and 4 losses. There's Akebono coming in. Moving up the ranks. Tamakasuga and Takanonami. Tamakasuga here, 150 kilos, 23.5 stone. Takanonami, 170 kilos, just under 27 stone. Tall wrestler, but he's got 6 losses so far. Well, there's a nice slap from Takanonami. Slightly unusual for him. He just uncorked a slap straight to Tamakasuga's face. Didn't do him a lot of good, that game plan. Tamakasuga handles him well. Well, these two have fought 21 times before. Takanonami's won 15 of them. So that's Tamakasuga adding 1 to his 6 wins, 7 wins against Takanonami. And 7th loss for Takanonami. 1 more loss after that, and he'll be dropping from his Ozeki rank position. Now the next bout. The names are called by the Yobidashi. And then up comes the grand champion, Takanohana, one of the front runners, got 11 wins. Here, meeting Chiyo Taikai. They've fought 10 times. Takanohana's won 7 of them, except he's won the last 3. And that's the last 3 when Takanohana's getting back on form. Chiyo Taikai, no doubt, will come out extremely hard and fast, leading with the head, pushing with the hands. He's not a great belt wrestler. And Takanohana will be looking for that grip on the belt. When he gets his hand on the belt, he's unstoppable. So how will they play it? Chiyo Taikai, I guess, will come out, lead with the head, and go straight into the slaps and the pushes like a whirlwind. But you never know, he might try to sidestep the grand champion. He's been doing some of these moves recently. So now, the referee's war fan is flat onto us. That means it starts. So he leads with the head, as I predicted. Now he's pushing hard. Pushing, you've got Takanohana on the run there, and down he goes. Chiyo Taikai beats the grand champion. And Takanohana dumped painfully on his back, and then down the edge. Well, that was a hard, fast bout from the Ozeki. Chiyo Taikai came out, cracked his head just under Takanohana's chin, and then started pushing. Didn't get much of a whirlwind push, Tsupari attack, but he kept on pushing, and Takanohana couldn't withstand that push. And so that's 10th win for Chiyo Taikai. He's in the running, and Takanohana has slipped back from the winning position. Let's watch that one again. So in goes Chiyo Taikai's head. Then it's pushes to the throat, pushes to the body. Takanohana moving back almost the whole time. Gets driven slightly to one side. Bad position to get sideways on. Then that's it. Lands on his back, and Chiyo Taikai on top of him. So there's a little bit of an upset there, especially at this late stage of the Basho. Takanohana taking his 2nd loss. There's Akebono. He's only got 1 loss, so he needs to stay up there, stay ahead of Takanohana for sure. Here fighting Dejima. Now these two have fought 8 times previously. Dejima's won 5 of them. But Akebono has been firming up of late, and he's been looking very strong in this Basho. And Dejima, with only 8 wins, is not looking too good. But Dejima almost sidesteps him, and eventually Akebono comes in with those long arm thrusts of his, almost lost it, recovered quickly, and then just powered Dejima out. So 12 wins and 1 loss, Akebono. And the 5th loss for Dejima, who's not doing that well in this tournament. So let's watch this one again. So there's Dejima coming in low, almost sidesteps him, and from then on it's a one-way street out. So at the end of day 13, Akebono and Kaio, the 2 leaders with 12 wins and 1 loss apiece. Takanohana one step behind with 11 wins and 2 losses. And behind them, Tochinohana and Chiyo Taikai with 10 wins and 3 losses. So it's getting interesting, but stay with us. We'll be back in a short while after the break. Hello and welcome back to day 14 of this 15-day Basho. Today and tomorrow to go, and then the championship will be decided. Here's Akebono, along with Kaio, who's leading the race with 12 wins and 1 loss. He's along with Kaio, same score, 12 and 1. Takanohana one step behind. It's a full house, say the banners, on day 14. And we go into our first bout of day 14 between newcomer Jumonji, and looks like he's going to go back down into the Juro division. He's turned in 8 losses so far, and against Kaiho, who's got 5 wins. So Jumonji there, locks onto Kaiho's arm, almost spins him out. Kaiho very much the smaller of these two, some 25 kilos lighter, about 3.5 stone lighter. But there's a little leg clip, and there's an inside leg hook, and another inside leg hook. Jumonji's locking over those arms in the kimedashi position. And there's another leg hook from Kaiho. Can he do it? Jumonji's starting to topple, maybe. And there's slides off that, and then he goes into a straight push. So, well, the leg hooks there, the uchigake and the other one, Kouchigake, neither of them worked, but it led Jumonji up to the edge and then eventually pushed out. So now Koto-Ryu fights Toki. These two have fought 3 times previously. Toki's won all 3. Toki with 8 wins. Koto-Ryu with 6 wins. If he loses this one, which he's just done, that's 8 losses for Koto-Ryu and Makikoshi. So at in his Maigashira 5 rank, he'll slide down a couple, but safe enough as far as staying in the Makuuchi division goes. The Maigashira wrestlers all get much the same basic pay. There's no distinction between them as far as that goes. Now, Hayate Yomi, not been doing too well since day 9. He injured his neck. He's got 9 wins, but as you can see, he's a little bit stiff. You can see the tapes across the back of his shoulders. Here fighting Tamakasuga. And these two have never fought before. Tamakasuga gets that one. But nevertheless, it's 9 wins so far for Hayate Yumi in his 2nd Makuuchi Basho, and 9 wins for Tamakasuga. So that's a return to form for Tamakasuga from his previous Basho, when he only scored 5 wins. Now Toketsuumi fights Wakanoyama. These two have fought 5 times previously. As an uneven start there, surprised the referee didn't stop it. Toketsuumi definitely sharp off the mark, but you can see from the start lines there, they're almost exactly where they started, in the middle. Wakanoyama pushing in hard. Wakanoyama started his sumo at the same time as Takanohana and Akebono, but there, the veteran, winning with Oshi Tawashi. Pushed down against Toketsuumi. So 5 wins for Wakanoyama and 9 losses for Toketsuumi. Now Hamanoshima, been in pro Makuuchi Sumo since 94. Right. Asano Sho has been there since 95. Both ex-amateur champions, veterans of this 15-foot circle. And there's a fist to the eye from an early start by Asano Sho, and more to the same spot by the look of it, and a couple of pushes to the body. So Asano Sho winning that one with Oshidashi. So that's 3 wins for Asano Sho. Not doing very well this tournament. He's had 3 Makikoshis in all his previous 3 tournaments, so he's getting perilously close to the bottom of the Makuuchi division. And that was the 11th loss for Hamanoshima. But he's up near the top of the Maigashira rank, so he's safe enough. Now Kyokushuzan, who's due to get married after this Basho. Currently his win rate is the lowest. I mentioned that before. It's 0.441, so he wins roughly 44 out of 100, which, when you consider Akebono's and Takanohana's win rate is 0.75, 75 out of 100, he's well behind. So nice open bout now. Kyokushusan with only 3 wins so far against Tochino Nada. So he's got that overarm grip, so on past form we know he'll probably dive at the legs or grab the legs. Well, there's a sweep from Tochino Nada. So this is a position where Kyokushusan will drop one of his arms down and push away the legs or lift a leg. Turning into a judo match here, I think, between these two. There's another one. Well, that was neatly done. Well, he didn't grab the legs, but he just tripped Tochino Nada, and his balance just went. Surprising, that one. But very neatly done by Kyokushusan, and 4 wins for him. The last Basho he only had 5 wins, so still a chance. No, just a chance he could even up if he wins the bout on the last day. Now Asano Waka fights Chio Tenzan. These two have fought once before. Asano Waka won that one. Fast start, as always, by Asano Waka. Lots of slaps, being chased around the ring by Chio Tenzan and shoved out. Oshidashi. So 6th win there for Chio Tenzan. He's already got Makikoshi, or in fact both of them have got Makikoshi. But they're all comfortable in the Maegashira rankings. So roughly 14 Maegashira on each side 14 Maegashira and west side 14. It's only when you get down to Maegashira 12, 13, 14 that life gets tough for these wrestlers. Tough in the sense demotion means loss of privileges, loss of money. Here we have Tosanumi coming out with his usual ferocious tachiai against Ogenishiki, who's hanging on in there, but Tosanumi finishes him off. That gives Tosanumi 8 wins, and Kachikoshi. Ogenishiki's already taken 8 losses, so this one today makes 9 losses. So not doing too well, but he's had a spell in the Juryo division and he's more or less back on form. A couple of veterans coming out now. Both been around, both started sumo in 1983. 17 years ago, these two came in as sumo young men. Here they are, 17 years later, still fighting in this circle. Daizen, 35 years old, Takato Riki, 32. It's a good slapping match to open up with, but Daizen overpowering Takato Riki, who tried to spin off a thrust to the throat and face, and in fact got spun out over the edge. So you can always tell when these slapping matches, when the wrestlers come off and they're blinking, that they've taken a lot of slaps and blows to the face. Rules in sumo forbid you to strike with a clenched fist, but no rules against slapping with the open hand. So Miyabayama here against Akinoshima. These two have fought 6 times previously, each has won 3 times. As Akinoshima leads with a head, stays low. He's a short, stocky wrestler. It's about 5'8" tall, 153 kilos. And he's locked in tight there, but Miyabayama looks in a strong position. As another throw attempt there, but eventually gets spun over. Akinoshima tries an inside leg lift. Ichonage throw there, but Miyabayama just squashes it and shoves him down. So that's the 10th win for Miyabayama. As you can see, his lips a bit red there from the blows and the headbutt. And that was 5th loss for Akinoshima. So Akinoshima with 9 wins and 5 losses. Much better than previous Basho when he had only 5 wins. It's big Akebono, the biggest man in sumo right now, because he's not as big as Konishiki was. Akebono is 230 kilos. Konishiki was 247 kilos, quite a bit bigger. So here we have Kaio. Now he's got 12 wins already, that's his record. If he can win this one, It's a new record. Here fighting Tochiazuma. They fought 13 times in previous Bashos against each other. Tochiazuma's got the slight edge. He's won 7. Both these men looking good in this tournament. Both have beaten 3 Ozeki and 1 Yokozuna. So who will fortune favour today? Kaio looking strong. Uneasy start by Kaio. Tochiazuma making all the going, but there's Kaio powering back, almost losing it. And eventually Tochiazuma steps out. Well, Kaio wavered there, I thought. Not looking anywhere near as powerful as his previous bouts. But that's 13 wins for him. A new record as far as tournament wins go. And getting closer and closer to that tournament win. Still a few problems yet. All depends on what Takanohana and Akebono do. But let's watch this one again. So, an easy start by Kaio against Tochiazuma. Almost gets turned sideways. Big gap opens, Tochiazuma closes up. Comes in hard, keeps Kaio on the move. Kaio starts powering back, almost loses it again. Then gets driven back, always a dangerous move or a dangerous situation. But Tochiazuma flies past. So Kaio there with his 13th win. And looking good and strong. Now, Tochinohana is the newcomer coming up against Takanonami. One on the way up, one on the way down. Tochinohana in his first Makuuchi Basho, already with 10 wins. Takanonami has been around 9 years in this Makuuchi division. That's 55 or so Bashos facing demotion. He's had a run of bad luck. Tochinohana locking in tight. He's lifting the Ozeki up. And that's the 8th loss. It's Makikoshi for Takanonami, and that means he will get demoted from his Ozeki slot. So demotion for Takanonami, and this almost certainly Tochinohana, this young newcomer, will gather a tournament prize, if not 2 tournament prizes for this Basho's performance. Now Akebono. Now he's ahead of Takanohana. He needs to win this one. And then after that depends what Takanohana will do in the bout following. But take it one at a time. Akebono against Chio Taikai. They fought 7 times. Akebono's won 4 of those head-to-heads, marginally ahead. The last time Akebono won a tournament was summer '97, 3 years ago, so it's some time ago. Solid start by Akebono there, almost drove Chio Taikai over the edge. Chio Taikai recovers and then he gets pushed back again, so moment of insecurity there for Akebono. Looked like he had it right at the start, but then recovered and then drove Chio Taikai out with Yorikiri. So that's Akebono still up there with Kaio, 13 wins apiece and only 1 loss apiece. So perhaps it'll be a playoff on the last day. We'll see. Let's watch this one again. So Chio Taikai bounces off the big man and then gets almost driven straight out, digs his feet in on the edge, on the raised edge of the circle. Comes back, starts to move sideways, always a dangerous maneuver for Akebono, likes them straight in front of him, but then loses it. As 230 kilos of Akebono nudges him out. Now, Takanohana must win this one if he wants to stay in the race for the Emperor's Cup. He's got 2 losses. Still possible for him to come through, but he must win this one. Here against Dejima, they fought 11 times. Takanohana's won 8 of them previously. So drives Dejima back at the Tachiai. Dejima coming in hard and strong. And then Dejima hovering on the brink there. It's touch and go. And he gets powered out by the grand champion. So Takanohana still in the race for the title. Comfortable win there by the grand champion. And Dejima racking up his 6th loss. So Takanohana with 12 wins and 2 losses. It's Takanohana. Let's watch this one again. So Dejima leads with his head, but bounces off Takanohana, who then looks for the belt, finds it. As he finds the belt, Dejima starts powering him backwards. Takanohana tries the tries the throw, but then gets him on the edge, and then it's hovering on the brink for a bit, then eventually over the edge. So at the end of day 14, we have Akebono and Kaio, the two leaders, at 13 wins and 1 apiece. And still in the race, Takanohana with 12 wins and 2 losses. Tochinohana 11-3, Miyabiyama 10-4. Stay with us, we'll be back after the break with the final day's sumo. Hello and welcome back to the final day of the Natsu Basho. Senchuraku as it's called, the day, the delights of 1,000 autumns. Name that goes back to antiquity. And at the start of the last day, here's one of the men who's in the lead, Kaio, with 13 wins. Along with him is Akebono, the grand champion, with 13 wins as well and 1 loss apiece. So it's full house on the last day. Man in onrei, as those banners say, which means full house. And into our first bout, which is between Asano Sho and Tokitsumi. Neither of these wrestlers have done particularly well this tournament. Asano Sho with 3 wins, and Tokitsumi with 5 wins. So there's a straight Nodo thrust to the throat and face. A few more from Asano Sho, some double thrusts there. It's rough and tough there, straight into the throat and straight down and out for Tokitsumi. 10 losses for him on his last day. Maigashira 8. He'll drop a couple of ranks, but still within the Makuuchi division. Asano Sho very close to demotion. Now Kotonowaka, who's back from a leg injury. He's had 9 wins so far, looking good against Chio Tenzan. He's also got a right knee injury. You can see them both taped up there. These two have fought 3 times previously. Kotonowaka's won 2 of them. Tries a leg hook on the injured knee. There's no reserve there about attacking an injury in sumo, but Kotonowaka wins with the overarm grip. Forces Chio Tenzan down with the Uwate Nagi. So 10 wins for Kotonowaka, and that will certainly jump him up the Maigashira rankings for the next Basho. Hayate Umi. A bit of an injured neck, but nevertheless doing quite well. Got 9 wins so far against Kotoryu on the right with the black mawashi, who gets that overarm grip and spins the younger wrestler, the newcomer, over with the arm throw, or wate nagi. And that was 7 wins for Kotoryu. 7-8 final score for Kotoryu. Now Kaiho, with only 6 wins, he's notched up Makikoshi already, as has Shikishima. So Kaiho, not so hard and fast off the tachiai. He's got more skillful sumo. So neat demonstration of that. Locked onto the belt and twirled the much bigger wrestler around, some 60 kilos heavier, which is what, 10 stone or so heavier. Twirled him around, then shoved him out with Yorikiri. So 7-8 final score for Kaiho, and a 6-9 score for Shikishima. Jumonji, who almost certainly is going down into the Juryo division. Next Basho fighting Daizen. These two have never fought before. In fact, there's quite a number of bouts this Basho where they've never fought each other before. Just shows the a lot of transition going on in the ranking system. And there's a win, 6th win for Jumonji against Daizen. 12th loss for Daizen. So Daizen at Maigashira 3 will be all safe enough in the Makuuchi division. Now we have Oginishiki against Toki. They've only ever fought once before. So Toki there with his long arms, distinctive sideburns and very distinctive mawashi. A strong image, and it looked like he stepped out there. Well, I'm sure Toki stepped out there, and in fact, yeah, the gyoji is looking at the sand. There's brushed sand just on the immediate outside of the circle, and if they step on it, it marks and it gets brushed before every bout. So let's look at that. Did he step out? Yes, it looked like it to me. He said here that the referee thought he stepped out, but it looks to me like they're going to do a rematch. So it's a Torinoshi. Well, either he stepped out or he didn't, but when it's doubtful, they rematch them. Torinoshi. So Toki loses it, stumbles, bit of a wry grin on his face as he starts to get up from that fall. So a win there for Oginishiki, his 6th win. Toki all right in this tournament, had 9 wins and 6 losses. And he'll go up the ranks a wee bit. Now here's Terao, who's not been doing very well at all his last 3 Bashos. He's had more losses than wins. He's only had 4 wins in this one. He's not looking anywhere near his old self. Well, can he win this one? Not that it'll make much difference. I think he's almost certainly going to drop down into the Juryo division, where, well, look at that lovely win. Well, if he'd only done that at the start of this tournament and kept it going, he could have stayed in the Makuuchi division. He said that if he does get demoted into the Juryo division, he'll carry on fighting. This, incidentally, was his 93rd Makuuchi Basho. He's the man who holds the record at present. I'm sure he'll be back. Now, Wakanoyama against Kyokuten Ho. These two have fought, had 4 head-to-heads previously. Kyokuten Ho's always won them. This is his 5th win. Some of these wrestlers never win, almost, against certain opponents. Kind of built-in loss mechanism. Anyway, Kyokuten Ho there winning, he's taken his 7th win, his Kaio. Moment of truth today. He might just be forced to fight a playoff. He's obviously got to win his own bout. Then all depends on what happens between Akebono and Takanohana, who will fight the very last bout. So, Tochino Nada. And Asanawaka. So, Tochino Nada, heavier wrestler, some 30 kilos heavier. Asanawaka making all the go in there. Well, he's a nice bouncy character, is Asanawaka. Humorous, comedian, good personality. Nice bouncy sumo. So that's his 5th win. And Tochino Nada's 10th loss. So both in the same position, east and west, top of the Maigashira rankings. And they'll both slide down a wee bit on that. Now, this was the man, not this one, Kyokushuzan, but his opponent, Takato Riki, who this time in the last tournament was heading for the win, the overall win, and here he is with only 2 wins so far. Kyokushuzan with only 4 wins. So, see some slaps from Takato Riki, seems to be trying to avoid them. Both wrestlers being a bit canny. Now, Kyokushuzan's, there's a leg grab, that's the sort of thing we expect, and very neatly followed up there. Grabbed the leg momentarily. Takato Riki was put off by that, and then, quick as a flash, Kyokushuzan followed up with a push to Takato Riki's chest. Now, Kaio needs this one. He needs this one. And here's fighting Tamakasuga. He's beaten him 7 times before. Tamakasuga's only ever beaten Kaio 4 times. Now, Kaio wins this one. And it all depends what happens. If Akebono... oh, well, let's concentrate. Let's go on this one. So, Kaio. So there's a hard start by Kaio. Locked in tight. Nice and sticky. Tamakasuga fighting back. Almost side turns him. Desperate struggle by Kaio here. Locks onto the belt. There's the power. Drives him over the edge. So Kaio now with 14 wins. Now all depends now on who wins in the bout between Akebono and Takanohana. If Takanohana wins, then there'll be a playoff. But if Akibono wins, then that guarees. Sorry, around the other way. If Takanohana wins, then that gives him the bout. And if Akibono wins, there'll be a playoff. So there's it. There was a few moments of insecurity in this bout, especially in this open sumo. Almost gets turned a bit there by Tamakasuga. Drags his arm down and almost turns the body. And there he goes over the edge with Yorikiri. So now he's got to sit in the Shitakubeya, the changing room downstairs, and just wait the outcome of the final bout that will decide whether he takes the Emperor's Cup or not. So this bout then, a few bouts to go before we hit that situation. Tosono Umi against Takanowaka. So that's a hard start. Straight off from the tachiai. Both wrestlers looking for the body and the belt, going for the open slaps sumo. And there's a push from Tosono Umi. It's driving Takanowaka back, recovers well. Takanowaka some 30 kilos lighter than Tosono Umi. And that's it, gets run out. Tosono Umi wins that one. That's 9 wins for Tosono Umi. And then a little bit of prize money for Tosono Umi. Akibono coming out, ready for the clash of the Yokozuna in the Musubi no Ban, the final bout of the day. 2 top sumo men now coming out. Akinoshima has been in this Makuuchi division 12 years. Tochi Azuma been in sumo virtually all his life. His father was a stable boss, or is a stable boss. Both being careful, heads to each other's shoulders, trying to control each other's arms, looking for a pull down or a push. It all depends which way the balance of the other wrestler goes. There's an attempt there by Akinoshima to turn Tochi Azuma, pulled his arm down and across his body. Both wrestlers with the arm on this side open. Neither have got the grip, trying to deny each other the grip there. 2 hands on is obviously stronger than 1. So in this situation, there's some leg grabs. There's a leg grab from Akinoshima, which goes on the inside of the leg, drives Tochi Azuma to the edge and over. 10 wins for Akinoshima. So it's been a good tournament for him. Reverse of his score last time. Last tournament he had 5 losses, or rather 5 wins and 10 losses. This time it's the other way around, 10 wins and 5 losses. Miyabiyama. Well, he needs this one. He's got 4 losses so far. If he can get a win here, that'd be 11-4, enough for him to be considered for promotion to Ozeki against Takanonami. These 2 have fought 6 times. Takanonami's won 5 of them. So can he, and there's an enormous lift from Miyabiyama, locks on with his right hand, loses it. Takanonami's, they say, has got 2 sets of hips. He can pull away. And there he gets, tries the leg hook, trembling on the edge there. Miyabiyama drops and pushes. So there's a win. That's the 11th win for Miyabiyama. It's 11-4, same as his score last Basho. And 9 losses for Takanonami and certain demotion. Down to Sekiwaki rank. Still, he's been there before and he's got back up to Ozeki. And there's one of the little prizes that goes to the first of the Sanyaku wrestlers to win. It's the Sanyaku, that's the grouping of the 3 ranks below the Yokozuna position. Now Dejima, the 2 young Ozekis. Dejima with 8 wins. Chio Taikai doing better this time with 10 wins. There's a hard start, both in notes, and there's a quick pull down from Chio Taikai. Well, that was over quickly. Both came out with a similar style. Leapt forward, drove with the head, pushing hard, but it was Chio Taikai who reversed the push and pulled Dejima down. Akibono getting ready to climb up. There's Kaio in the Shitakubeya, the changing room. If Takanohana wins this bout, then Kaio gets it. So Kaio praying for Takanohana to win it. Takanohana wins this one. Akebono then notches up 2 losses, and of course Kaio's only got 1 loss. Otherwise it'll be a playoff. So there, Akebono comes across the ring hard and fast. He's looking powerful. Takanohana's got that right hand on. He's got his left hand on. He's pushing hard. He's driving Akebono to the edge. Akebono hanging on in there, gets pushed back and over the edge. And so that's it. Kaio gets it. Kaio at Komusubi rank wins his first tournament, his first Yusho, and that's courtesy of Takanohana, who beat the massive Akebono. If it had been the other way round, it would have been a playoff between Akebono and Kaio. So nevertheless, it wasn't. Takanohana wins that one. Let's watch that one again. So Akebono comes out hard and fast, doesn't really move Takanohana that much, then starts to power forward. And there's Takanohana twisting and turning to the side. That's the direction that Akebono's weak. And there, twisting again, rocking him from side to side. It's that constant rocking motion that's rough on Akebono's legs. And then eventually just drives him straight backwards and over the edge. So at the end of this Basho, it's Kaio wins with 14 wins and 1 loss. Akebono behind 13-2, Takanohana 13-2, Tochinohana 12-3, the newcomer Chiyotai Kai 11-4, Miyabiyama 11-4, Kotonowaka 10-5 and Akinoshima 10-5. So those are leaders. There's some of the other scores there. So Kaio taking the tournament, and Terao putting in a bad score there. Jumonji going down, Terao almost certainly going down to Jurio. Minato Fuji out of this one, as was Musoyama and Musashimaru. Perhaps we'll see them back in the next tournament. So there's the head of the Sumo Association, Tokitsukaze, handing over the Winners' Cup to Kaio, the big, huge, heavy silver cup. And Kaio powered his way through this tournament, looking extremely pleased with himself and happy. Well, thank you for joining us. We'll be back soon with the Nagoya Basho. This is Sid Hoare from Tokyo. Bye for now, take care, and sayonara.